Welcome in, everybody. Today it is the 2nd of June, 2023. It's Friday. You know what that means? Live show time. Every Friday at 1 o'clock Pacific time, I always do a live show. And if I have anything special for the week, I save it for Friday. Speaking of which, we have the LiveMixer build to complete today. I've got all the parts in for it. And actually, I have two of these to build. I haven't started on the second one, but essentially all the same parts, except I have a version of the NZXT case in black and a version in the NZXT case in white. Otherwise, they're identical systems. Also, it occurred to me a couple of years ago, I bought these NZXT C750 power supplies. And they were purple. And I love everything about these power supplies. They were a good price, they're modular, they're made by NZXT, they're high quality, high wattage, good to slap a video card in without having to worry about not having enough juice. But they were purple. Well, this motherboard is purple. This power supply is purple. These have been sitting on the shelf for about 2 years, maybe 3 years. And I think we just found a match made in heaven. Now, I realize that these cases that we're going to use, they have a power supply shroud and they're going to cover up the power supply, but they may have a little opening on the side. I don't know. We'll take a look to see the side of the power supply. Certainly from the back, you'll see the purple from the back. That's pretty cool. I had no idea that was going to happen. These were sitting on a shelf thinking they will come in handy someday. Guess what today is? Guys, welcome in. Thank you to Mara Gaines, who before the show contributed an Amazon gift card. Thank you for keeping this channel sponsor free. And when I say sponsor free, what I'm referring to is that I'm not taking any products from companies in exchange for me to make a video to their requirements or their deadlines. If a company sends me a product for free, I will review it the way I want to review it, when I'm ready to review it, how I want to review it. And it's always honest. It's always a first impression. I try to do very little research on the product. I like to get a first impression. As a real working computer technician, I want to react no differently than I would if a customer called me and said, hey, I got this new computer. Can you help me set it up? That used to happen all the time. And you never knew what you were going to get, or what you were going to work with when you went to the customers. If you asked the customer what they bought, I got a white computer. It wasn't very helpful. You had to go and see it in person. And whatever it was, your job was to get it up and running or deal with whatever connections they were going to need. That's what they're paying you for. There was no time to research anything, to look things up. And as soon as you're done with that customer, you move to the next one. The more customers you can help in a day, the more money you make. When you're looking stuff up and researching stuff, you're not making any money. So when you're working for somebody else and you're being pushed to perform to a certain level, it's not a decision you get to make. And if you can't keep up with everybody else, then this perhaps isn't the right line of work for you. So working in the field, there's a lot of pressure, but it's also a very unique challenge. And I enjoy that so much. I enjoy carrying it forward onto my channel here to do what I don't see anybody else on YouTube doing. And that is real field service work. So that's what I'm emulating here. So for example, today, this is my first experience with the LiveMixer build. I really didn't know much about it. And I think it's going to be perfect for the person it's going to. And then furthermore, I think the case and everything's going to be fantastic. And we have a little add-on that is unique to this motherboard that I happened to get the last two of them at Newegg. And we'll get to that a little later on. So thanks, guys, for hanging out with me today. And I hope you're having all a great Friday. You see in the chat room, who do we have in here today? We got about 191 people joining us right now. Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see y'all. Hello to all my friends in blue. Some new friends in blue today. And my members. Thank you, members, for, again, keeping the channel sponsor free. The sponsors I have are essentially just for products I think you guys could use and save money on. So like RoboForm and Windows and Office keys. All of that's legit. All of it is on the up and up, and all of it is guaranteed. But there's no hard pressure sales here. If you want to buy a key, buy a key. If you don't, don't. I really want to keep this as real as possible to real life and not to the stuff you guys are so brainwashed, in my opinion, about the kind of content that exists in this subject, in the matter of tech. Things are highly scripted, highly polished, highly edited, highly perfected, and then presented as perfect. And that sets you with an impossible standard to try and meet if you want to emulate what you're seeing. Furthermore, a lot of the products they review, they don't live with, they not hold accountable to. They're not selling it to a customer who's going to call them every time they have a problem until that computer is retired. So they have a freedom to do whatever they want, say whatever they want, and have no consequences as long as they're meeting the contract with the sponsors. I, on the other hand, when I sell a system to a customer, if that system doesn't perform well, it's my reputation. The customer may take their business elsewhere. It may appear that I don't know what I'm doing to the customer. And the opposite is true, that if the customer really feels like they got a great computer and a great price, they'll tell their friends. When they need more, they'll order more from me. It's how I've been able to survive in this industry over 30 years. And it's just not very well represented here on YouTube. So I'm here to make that correction. Everything you see here is real, it's live, it's unscripted. I don't need a script. I don't need edits. There is no script or edits in real life. So there's so much fakeness between artificial intelligence that's emerging, is becoming more and more popular. Everything from photoshopping and Instagram to get these moments where people look like they have lives better than yours. But in that brief moment, what you didn't see that happened before and afterwards are the arguing and yelling and shouting just so they could get the perfect image that makes them look like they're happy and carefree. I'm so sick of the fakeness in this world. And if you're here, I hope you get that. What I'm trying to do is keep everything real. That means sometimes I make mistakes. Who cares? I fix the mistakes I make always, always. Sometimes I don't get the answer that day. Sometimes I have to put a project aside, do a little research, and come back to it. That's okay. Then we have episode 2 and episode 3. So, and other times things don't work as expected. That doesn't happen that often where I can't get it running, but that's where the real talent is. You can't script it, you can't emulate it. It's real. And as you can tell, I'm very passionate about real because it seems like it's going away. Everybody wants virtual reality and artificial intelligence. Everybody wants to live in pretend land, and that's great. Go over there. If I'm not there, go ahead and start without me. For the rest of us that want to live in reality, welcome to my channel. All right, so where we left off is I have the board prepped. I had put the fanxiang SSD in here, but then I needed it for the Hi-Point RAID controller card, which we're not getting the performance out of it that we should, and I'm working with Hi-Point on that. So because I only have the 4 fanxiang NVMe drives, I need to keep them in the RAID controller. So I put the original NVMe back in here, which is the SK Hynix P41. And it still has the original operating system and everything on there, and moved it back up into the top slot. And we'll pick up that RAID controller video when I have answers, and we'll just use a different motherboard. In fact, I have another one of these. We might just pull another one of these, and when I'm ready to do that, that one might be ready. So we'll figure it out. The RAID controller card is just a channel project. It's not going to any customers. It's for my own curiosity, comparing RAID versus Gen 5 versus Gen 4 versus cost versus capacity versus onboard RAID on a motherboard versus a controller card, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So that's just there for my own personal knowledge, and I'm just sharing that experience with you guys. The board is already prepped. Everything's good to go here. We've got our RAM, our storage, CPU, cooler. We've run Prime 95. This cooler runs perfectly fine on Prime 95. It stays quiet. Everything is super happy. So the question I have today is, do I build it in the black case or do I build it in the white case? And I just thought, I really see this in the black case. Now, Cam Girl, she really sees it in the white case, but she ain't here today. So we're going to do the black case. Because, you know, if she's not here, then I'm the boss. So let me grab the case. Let's move this aside. And I have it out of the box. I just took it out a few minutes ago. This is the NZXT H7 Flow. So we have it in black, and we have it in white. It's a full-size ATX case. And it looks like that. She says she's still the boss. Well, good luck enforcing the rules if you ain't here. All right, so I have no idea how this case comes apart. We're just going to figure everything out. We got instructions, but I'm going to set those over there because I don't need them. I really enjoy reverse engineering things, and I really like when products are intuitive, especially as a technician, right? If a product is not intuitive, if a computer product like a case isn't obvious on how to turn it on or how to open it up to a computer technician, that to me is a bad design. That's the logic I use. So I see a couple of indentations back here, which I'm guessing you just pull on. Yep, there goes one panel right there. So does this pull up now? Yes, it pulls up. That's exactly what I would have expected it to do. All right, that's what I want to see as a computer technician. I want to see standards. I want to see unwritten rules that are being followed in regards to design. When somebody goes way out of their way to do something differently that doesn't seem to serve any benefit other than being different, and it makes my life 10 times harder because the engineers or the management has decided, let's just be different and make the job 10 times harder. These people really need to come work with me for a week and work on their own stuff. And let's see what they think about that when they go back to the office. So once again, when you're the one that has to work on it, when you're the one, the time is ticking and you're being measured and you've got to perform and customers are waiting. If customers wait too long, they're going to take their business to somebody else. You lose the business, all because some engineer decided, hey, this will be cool to do it this way, when in fact it becomes very impractical. Really gets under my skin if you can't tell. All right, so somewhere here, let me turn this around. I'm going to come around so you can kind of get a look at what I'm doing here. There's an indentation right here. And I should be able to just put my fingers in there, I think. Well, there's also one up here too. Does that come up? It looks like it comes up. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't need it up, but there's that. Let's put that over here with the rest of the pieces. And this should just pull away. There it goes. And then lift straight up. There it is. Ta-da. Okay. Beautimus. Nice, big, wide open case. And one of the things I love about NZXTs are the cable management tracks and Velcro ties. It makes the cable management in here so much of a pleasure. So easy to do. And yeah, no big deal. We've got a screen up here. So if we're going to put a radiator in this and you wanted the air to blow in, right? If we're drawing air in from the top, then you use the screen. If you're blowing air out through your radiator, you take the screen off because we do not filter exhaust air. Okay? All right. This little box right here, this is going to be all the screws that we need to mount hardware in our case. Every case comes with its own screws. They don't use the same screws or the same number of screws, depending on the size of the case, the manufacturer, and how they've designed it. It's entirely up to them how they want to do it. So when you're done building your computer, you want to put this little box away or put the screws away. Usually I just keep all the documentation and all the spare parts in the motherboard box, which is empty when we're done with it. Right? When we've taken the motherboard out, anything we don't use goes back in the motherboard box, and we put that into the closet or somewhere because there's nothing in there we need anytime soon, but in a couple of years when we got to upgrade or change something, you're going to want those screws. Be sure you put them away somewhere where you can find them, whatever system you have. We'll get into that in a minute. Let me go ahead and get this power supply opened up, and I'll show you this power supply. You might remember it from a while back. Hey, there's Buster with a 20-pound super chat. He says, good evening, Carrie and Marlena and everyone in the chat. All the best. From Bonnie, Scotland, where the temperature in Edinburgh is 55 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 13 degrees Celsius. It's been in the 50s all week here, all week there in Scotland. Sounds a little chilly, but I could use that. You know, my energy levels are pretty high usually, and that means I'll run hot. You'll hear the air conditioner on in the background constantly. So I get hot. I got things to do. I'm moving. Let's go. What I wouldn't give to be in 50-degree weather right now. Have the windows open. Roy Starman contributes $10 in super chat. He says, my $2,000 computer doubles as a cat warmer, so I leave the filter on top. Hey, there you go. Good idea. All right. So yeah, this has been sitting, I was going to say 2 years. I'm thinking now it's been 3 years, because I bought this before the pandemic started, and I think it was a year before that. Bought 4 of them. I used 2 of them, and I have 2 left over, and I just thought, I'll use them in something someday. Despite their color, they're great power supplies. And this color is going to work out perfectly. And it's just coincidence that I remembered I had these. I was looking around at my parts. Here, take that, will you? I was looking around at my parts, and I said, hey, those are going to match the motherboard. What was I thinking? Thank goodness I figured that out before I got them all built and done, though, right? Sometimes I have to do jobs twice because I get in such a hurry to get it done. And I realize, oh, I had something that would have been better. Take it back apart. This is one of the downsides of working very quickly. I know you're going like, these videos are 4 hours long. How is that working quickly? But you try and do what I do in 4 hours, right? Try and do this and host a show at the same time, and let's see how long it takes you. Especially if you don't talk as fast as I do. If you say all the things I say, but you say it slower, you're going to be here longer. All right. So be glad they're only 4 hours. Actually, I do try to keep these shows between 2 and 3 hours most, because I know they do get long sometimes, but let's see what we have here. Hello. Structural. Silica gel. Cables. Look at that, purple to purple. Foam. I got good hang time on that. And in here, oh, this one's not purple? I thought they were purple. Maybe it's just the bag that's purple. Yeah, can't remember now. That's okay, because black works too. You know why? Check this out. We're going to put this power supply in here like this. And we're going to slide it to the back. And look how beautiful that is. Beautiful. Love it. So yeah, I got a purple purse for my cables. I guess that's what it is. Cables, power cable, screws for the power supply, nothing else in the bag. Motherboard power, we're going to need that. CPU power, going to need that. And then these are 2 video card power. Put the video card in. And this is another EPS power or CPU power. We do want 2 of them for this build. That was the other good thing about this power supply. So we're going to want those. And then in this bag here, we have our SATA cables for accessories. And all I want to do is get them out of the bag and put them into this bag. And we'll put that in this bag, and we'll keep all the stuff together for later when and if we need that. Davis Parsons with a $5 super chat said, all my computers are in NZXT cases. The cable management sure is easy with these cases. Agreed. However, these cases are not small, especially not this one. I do like that we've got 3 fans up in the front, and we have a rear case fan. Those fans on the front, you'll notice they have white blades. That means they are RGB. So we can turn the lights to purple with the purple motherboard. And it'll be black and purple all over. Gonna look like a big walking bruise. The Bruiser, that's gonna be the name of this computer. It's the Bruiser. And I think this front panel comes off here. See another indentation up here, which I'm guessing means that comes off if you want to get at those fans for some reason. We shouldn't need to take it off during the build. I'll have a follow-up for yesterday's repair video. I'm about 70% done with the cable management. That power supply was in upside down, and I was really struggling with the cables and realized all the cables were at the back end of the front of the case instead of the back side, because the power supply fan was facing up instead of down. And one thing led to another, and I've got to recable a bunch of stuff. So I did about an hour and a half of it and said, that's enough for tonight. I set it aside. And now here we are doing this. And then when this is done, hopefully the cable management on this will be lickety split, because I could use that in my life. And by tomorrow, I hope to have both of them done. Then I can start on number 2. I do hope to have a video, another live video, Saturday and Sunday this weekend at 1 o'clock, the usual start time, because I have a lot of work to catch up on, including build number 2. I also have the Cube build. I have 2 mini PCs to review. I have a bunch of networking equipment that's come in. Oh, the TP-Link Wi-Fi 7 router that was supposed to come out March 15th that I ordered and was supposed to be delivered today. I got a notice from Amazon that my delivery date has been delayed to July 26th. So it's 2 months away. So TP-Link seems to be having some serious manufacturing issues or distribution issues. They're not saying anything. They're just staying quiet about it. But I'm not gonna. I'm gonna tell you, they're staying quiet about this. Something's wrong over at TP-Link, and they're staying hush hush. Well, I'm not too happy about it, because I was planning to make that video today if Amazon delivered it on time. But 8 weeks from now is far from on time. And that's not Amazon's fault. That's all on TP-Link. Unless I'm a conspiracy theorist and I think TP-Link doesn't want me to have it for 2 months because they're afraid I might discourage people from buying it. Don't send it to that guy. Wait 2 months, then send him one. Yeah, I am not happy. I didn't want to spend $699 on a router. And when I did, I sure as heck didn't intend to wait 3 months for it from the time I ordered it. Especially when after I ordered it, it was 2 months after it was supposed to already be out. So yeah, thanks for that first quarter of 2023 announce date there, TP-Link. I just wish these companies would be honest. Come out, tell us what's going on, explain the delay. No, let's stay quiet. Don't mention it. Maybe no one will notice. All the hoopla surrounding our new Wi-Fi 7 router, all of the advertising and all of the marketing, and then they just go radio silent. Yeah, doesn't make me too happy. So that's why we're doing this today instead. Okay, power supply is in. So that was hard. Now, I guess I could put the motherboard in. As you see back here, we've got two trays for two 2.5-inch solid state drives, or just 2.5-inch drives, regardless if they're mechanical or solid state. Back behind the motherboard tray, we've got a 3.5-inch mechanical hard drive tray down here. That's 3.5-inch, right? Standard mechanical drives. And I like the space between the back of the power supply and this cage, so I can reach in and plug the cables in. I will say the added benefit of using the NZXT power supply is that we're using an NZXT case. Well, you normally don't have any issues regarding fitment of power supplies and cases. Generally speaking, using the same brand power supply as the same brand case, things just tend to fit and look a little bit like they belong together versus the hodgepodge of bargain shopping. You know, I'll take that cheap case and that cheap power supply and that cheap motherboard, and then you end up working twice as hard, 3 times as hard with a system that's perhaps not as reliable or as easy to work on, and cutting your hands up on cheap equipment. That's all well and good if you want to do that. It's a very difficult way to stay in business when your customers realize you sold them some piece of junk to raise your profit margin. It's very difficult to sustain a business model that way, unless you keep changing your company name. Always like going out of business sale, like a mattress store. Are there any mattress stores that aren't going out of business? And then what goes back in the mattress store's location? Another mattress store. Gee, I wonder if it could be the same owner. All right, let me lay this flat. Here we go. And I want to look at my standoffs. They're already installed. Another benefit of these name brand cases like Corsair and NZXT, you don't have to manually put the standoffs in. The standoffs aren't brass and don't match the color of everything. These standoffs are painted to match the case. Little details like that matter, and it's worth paying a couple extra dollars for, in my opinion, for rounded edges that aren't sharpened, cable management tracks that make cable management easy, big roomy area to work on, plenty of room if you wanted to add a liquid cooler, and a very elegant, timeless design. So much RGB is tacky and over the top. I think, based on the pictures I've seen in this, we'll see in real life, but this looks more reserved for RGB, and I'm okay with that. Just don't like the big Las Vegas signs that people turn their computers into. Camera girl likes that. That's her thing. And you know what? To each their own. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than installing like that. I mean, come on. Our back plate, our I/O shield, is already part of the motherboard, so it just lines up without having the fiddle with that. A lot of people struggle with that, especially first-time builders or people that haven't built very often. You got that purple sticking out there, which I think is kind of sharp. And, you know, we'll have to see how it looks with white, but it's coming together exactly as I pictured it, which is good. I'm going to move this box out of my way because I'm starting to run out of room here on the bench. So I'll just set that down here for now. And as I mentioned, all spare parts will end up going into that empty motherboard box. And then the customer is going to get this case with everything built, ready to rock and roll, along with the motherboard box. And I will tell the customer, there's nothing in this box that you need anytime soon, but maybe in a year or 2 or 3, you're going to need something out of that box. So make sure you put that away where you can find it. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. I don't know this customer well enough to know which it will be, but time will always tell. Let's see. Oh, look what we've got here. Screws. Nice. That's an interesting way to package that. These look like tracks that you screw to the back of a 2.5-inch drive, and then it looks like it just slides into the track in the back. That's pretty cool. And then we've got zip ties in there. And this I don't need. That can go over there. There's a condom joke in here somewhere with screws, but I don't want to go there right now. Yeah, that seems familiar. Okay, what do we have? These look like the motherboard screws. These look like a DVD drive or solid state drive. These are little, oh, it tells us. These are M3 by 5 millimeters. These are 6/32 by 5 millimeters. These are case fan screws. These are called KB5 by 10 millimeters. We won't need those today. This is a little washer, not a washer. This is a little socket for the standoffs that you can then use a Phillips screwdriver to tighten if you wanted to move standoffs for a different size motherboard. We don't need this, but it's basically, it's a 6/32 by 6.5 standoff with a 4 millimeter standoff wrench. They're calling that little socket, they're calling it a wrench. So yeah, we don't need that on today's build. We don't need this on today's build. These are 4 hexagon screws, 6/32 by 6 millimeters. The hexagon screws are your standard computer case screw. They're very commonly used. And I used the screws already for the power supply. These would normally be used for a power supply, but since our NZXT power supply came with screws already, we don't need these. Those are extras. So yeah, I don't need this or this or this or this on today's build. So we'll set those over here. And the question is, do we use the 6/32 screws for the motherboard or do we use the M3s? I bet it's the 6/32. That's what I think. One way to find out for sure, could open the package and try it. Super chat just came in from Craig Casabona. Again, hey, thank you, Craig. Same as yesterday. $20 from Craig Casabona. You rock, my friend. Thank you. And Nick Poverman with $5 super chat. He said, did I hear back from Chewy a second time? No, I am still waiting. Sarge Tech, been a member now for 5 months. He says, wow, 5 months sure goes by fast. Always a pleasure to be in this community of great people. Thank you, Carrie. Well, thank you, Sarge Tech. I caught up? I think I'm caught up. Right on. Thank you, guys. Okay, let's see. I was listening to Depeche Mode while I was getting myself pumped up for today's show, and I can't get Policy of Truth out of my head. I want to hum it, and then I don't want to get a copyright violation. I'm concerned. You don't want to hear me hum it anyway. Okay, let's see here. Is this aligned? And are these the right screws? Oh, this is not promising. Oh, I see. I don't have it seated. There it is. Silly me. These are the right screws. Okay, very good. Very good. Andy Kane in the chat says hello. Welcome in, Andy. I'm just going to start these manually here. It's pretty good right there. Iggy the Human has become a supporter. Hey, welcome, Iggy the Human. Thank you for becoming a supporter. That's a tricky place right there to get a screw. I don't know how well you can see that. Taking that lid off, at least you can kind of see down in there. I think I just have one more to go. Is it one more or two more? Two more. Oh, wait. Oh, wait a minute. This board, I forgot. This board has an extra mounting hole, so we will use that extra standoff. Aha! See, I'm not paying attention. I'm working too quick. I'm going to just quickly take these screws out of here because I need to take the board back out for just a second. You see? This is why we... Ah, that one wasn't even turned. That wasn't even turned, Carrie. Decided to get lazy and bring out the electric driver here to get the screws out. Light work out of it. So that's why they included the extra standoff. So we're just going to pop this out here for just a second. Set it over here. You see, on the bottom of this board right here, there's not normally a screw here. Right there. But some boards have it. Now, look, you don't have to put that screw in. I like to do something in a technique I like to call the right way. And so, yes, if I have to take it back out, even though it doesn't really matter, because that's what it is to do it right, well, that's just my pride getting in the way. If this was a machine I was building for myself, then I want to make sure that I do everything correctly for me, and I would not do it any differently for anybody I build a computer for, or even give a computer away to. I always do everything to the same standard, even if it's overkill. So these parts exist for a reason. The engineers put a hole there for a reason. And while you could dismiss it, I'm not going to. So there. There's no argument to be had. My business, it's my standards. And if you work for me, you will do the work to my standards. Or you won't work for me. And do you know where I learned that? From everybody I ever worked for. Just saying. Now this little socket that fits on top, I don't really need that. I've got my own socket specifically for this job right here. It's a little 5mm, and we just want to make sure that we put that on. Righties tighties, and we'll tighten that down. Super easy, barely an inconvenience. And that'll go back in the drawer for next time. I got a feeling that's not the last time you're going to see that tool. Hopefully the last time you see it today, though. All right, where was I? Just putting this board in. Oh no, it's so difficult. But Uncle Kerry does need to wear his glasses to get these little tiny pins lined up there. There's one center pin that gets lined up. The customer will get that little socket, though. If the customer should decide to work on this on their own, they should have everything they need, other than the motivation. Cannot provide that to people. I want customers to come back to me because they want to, not because they have to. It's not like a gym membership where you're forced to use the service or not. You're still paying for it. I don't like that kind of business model. If you've got to get people to sign contracts in order to sustain your business model, you got a bad business model. That's my opinion. All right, so I'm just getting these all started one more time. Few more screws here, and then I will tighten them down, and we can set this back up on its feet, and you can see what it looks like with the board in. That's a lot of screws, but it is a big board, we'll say. Not unjustifiable. And it ain't going nowhere. It's not going to warp. With all those screws holding it evenly flat against the back of the motherboard tray. That's going to keep it nice and straight, especially you put a big old heavy video card on it. You got to consider how much weight you're distributing on the screws you're using to mount your board. So if you're one of those people that's like, it only needs one screw, it only needs 2 screws, and then you turn around and put a 5-pound video card hanging on the side of it, you might find both your video card and your motherboard warping drastically over time. So those screws aren't just there for fun. The engineers have done the math, and that is what they've equated to being required for years and years of stability, rock solid, no warping, all that stuff. So there it is. It's looking good. Looking real good. All right. The only thing I don't like about these packages is there's no way to reseal them. So I suppose I could just put that in there and then take this, fold it in half. And this is where you got to get MacGyvery. This is the kind of stuff you learn in the 80s. Somewhere I have stapler. There, now they won't fall out. Okay. Cable time. It's cable time. Looks like a bird did a duty on the back of that board. Weird design choice. Bird duty's cool now. Let's see. I go to the back of this board here, which I cannot see because it's so dark in there. Bear with me for a second. Buns of Wisdom said, I always wanted to see Kerry build a mini ITX build. Well, hey, there's only about 5 of them on this channel. So there's the Train PC, the mini, the N-Case M1, then there's another M-Case N1, and then there's the 2 NZXT H210s. That's 5, right? And there's probably like 2 more on top of that. There's no shortage of mini ITX builds here. All right, let's see. Somewhere back here, this cable's going to go. Oh, it's going to go all the way up on the top. Let's see. I see. Probably should have put this on first. I'll tell you what, just for the sake of you guys being able to see what I'm doing, and to make my life a little easier, I'm going to pop that power supply back out. We're going to hook these cables up for you so you can see. Because it's so easy to just take stuff in and out of this case. What's the big deal? Is your computer this easy to work on? Probably not. Set those there for now. And we'll just slide this bad boy out of here. And here's the back of the power supply. I'm going to bring this up to the camera and show you. This is where I'm going. Right up here it says motherboard. CPU power there, and additional CPU power here. We need both of those. Then the rest of these are going to be, these are your video card power, these 2 where my finger is, where they join there. And then the rest over here, that's all just stuff like SATA power for things like the fans or RGB or a DVD drive, which we can't put in here. Powering a liquid cooler, stuff like that, your SATA power connectors. So what I want to do is just take the end of this that's split, right? This is the end that goes to the motherboard, the solid one. This end that's split, it's going to go right here where it says motherboard. And it's the only connector on the back of this power supply that's in that shape. So you can't plug it in the wrong place, and you cannot plug it in upside down. And the one right next to it is for the small connector. Well, how do I know it's the one over here and not the one over here? because the one over here is only 8 pins and the one over here is 10 pins. And last I checked, you cannot put a 10-pin plug into an 8-pin socket. It's just not going to work. You can't get it wrong. Now we have the two CPU power connectors. They're identical. One end goes to the power supply and one end goes to the motherboard. How do you know which end is which? Does it matter? It matters, yes. On this cable and on every modular power supply cable, it's going to say on one end, either power supply or CPU, this says CPU. And you see how it's split into 2 4s? That's because some motherboards only want 4 pins instead of 8. This side doesn't split like that. That's one solid piece, and it says PSU right on the back of it there. That's the end that goes to the power supply unit, or the PSU. And both cables are identical. And so, well, this is a little confusing because it says CPU on the back of the power supply, and it says CPU here. You'd think you put CPU to CPU, but you don't. That's not what they mean. What they mean is you plug CPU power. The CPU power cable goes in where it says CPU on the back of the power supply. And you go, well, which end of this is the CPU power cable goes to the power supply? The end that says PSU. That's the logic that's used here. Whether or not it's flawed, that's how engineers think. And the other cable's exactly the same. Most of you would only use one of these. These newer boards, especially if they're Z790s, they have the option of adding a second. And usually it's an option, and it's primarily there for providing extra power in the case of overclocking. This is not going to be overclocked. However, since we have the cable and we have the ability, I would rather have it and not need it than the other way around. Okay, so now power supply end goes here, and we're done. Now I can put the power supply back in, route the cables, plug it in, hook up our front port umbilicals, power it on. Bada boom, bada bing, we're done. I don't know, I just became Italian. I was watching a comedian earlier today. He's been around a long time. His name is Rocky Laporte. Is that his name? Rocky, come on now. Dry Bar. The YouTube channel Dry Bar just posted, and I forgot all about him. He's been around, he's got to be around 20 years. Yeah, I got his name right. Rocky Laporte. You guys watch comedians, you might recognize him. He's been around a long time, and he's very, very New York Italian kind of guy. Love that style. And I was just so thrilled to see him again because I forgot about him. I'm like, I remember this guy. And let's see if I turn that on. Yeah, you should absolutely watch this guy. Hilarious. All right. I don't want to get a copyright violation, so you just get a little taste. You can go back and you can freeze frame that if you want all the details of how to find that video. Unless you don't like to laugh, in which case, don't watch that. Look at me going for 48 minutes and actually getting done. Normally, I'd still be here telling you about what's going on with the channel and things that I'm working with behind the scenes, but today we're right to work. Now, there is a switch on the back of this power supply I did not mention. It's pretty common these days that the higher end power supplies have the ability for you to have the power supply fan only come on when it's needed, or to just let the power supply fan run all the time. And that's what the switch is for. The switch puts it into basically a hybrid or an eco mode, where if the power supply is not running hot and it doesn't need the fan to run, it turns the fan off. And that's what I recommend, because there's no sense bringing in dirt and dust into your power supply when it doesn't need it, and you'll extend the length of time between when you need to blow the dust out of the power supply. All the air the power supply draws in from the bottom of the case only goes in the power supply. It does not go into your computer case. It's something very few YouTube channels on tech ever talk about. When they talk about PC cooling or they talk about positive or negative air pressure, they never ever mention the power supply, which is a pretty important component. And there's really not much you can do with regards to the fan on the bottom of the power supply, or on the top of the power supply if you mounted it upside down. And yet the temperature of that is ignored. The airflow in it is ignored. And everybody just obsesses with the fans in their case and the fans on their CPU and the thermal compound, where they completely ignore the entirely sealed ecosystem that is the power supply that really should have your obsession. This other stuff is overkill. We don't need all these fans. This is all nonsense. We're not dealing with research grade MIT experimental hardware. This is consumer-based hardware, folks. Consumer. This isn't going into a rocket. You guys are doing some really over-the-top nonsense, in my opinion. Customers don't pay me to do that. That's something a hobbyist does at home, spending money they don't need to spend to do work they don't need to do, that has no impact on their system except how it looks. And in the meantime, the heart, the bloodline of the system, the power supply, is completely ignored. It's a weird world we live in, man. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to say anymore. I'm just speechless. If we don't talk about it, then we don't know. And if we don't know, then we can't obsess over it, and therefore everything's going to be fine. Yes, that's the logic they use on the internet. We don't worry about what we don't know. But we will worry about stuff we don't need to worry about because we know about it. I have to laugh. I have to laugh because otherwise I'll just break down and cry. All right, guys. This is so easy. Oh my gosh. So easy. I've been due for an easy job for a while. I think I might be a little giddy. Like, oh my gosh, when you actually buy good parts and you spend a few dollars more, it's not that it costs a lot. It's a few dollars more, and all of a sudden, everything is easy. I don't need to do anything to this case. I don't need to add any fans to it. It's already got more than it needs. I don't have to cut any holes or do any mods. Everything just fits. I don't have to cut my hands up or try and get my hands to fit in a little teeny tiny space. There's a lot of room in here. So nice. Just saying. I might have a different perspective than you guys watching at home. You work on 100 computers in 3 months and let me know what you think when you get to one that's hard to work on and one that's easy. Suddenly the easy one is worth whatever you paid for. You're like, hey, that was fun. I really enjoyed it. Think of the money you save on Band-Aids. Okay. Bench is just a little too tall, or I'm a little too short. Come on now. Probably should have put this one on first. I think it's something else I should have done. I should have laid this case flat. My life would be so much easier if I worked on this the way I do when I'm not on camera. And you guys can't see anything anyway, so what difference does it make to you? That was so much easier. Okay. Now, check this out. Check this out. Look. See this? See this? Look. This goes in here. Look. Goes in here. Huh? What that? Look it. Look. This goes in here. look, look. See here? This goes down here. This goes here. Slide that through the loop. That's the hardest part of the job. Bend it in on itself. Cabling done. How about this one? You want to do this one? Okay, let's do this one. Look, look. Watch. In there. That in there. Well, it looks like we're not quite in the right spot for this one, so that's all right. We'll save that one for another day. This one, just put that through here. You watching? That through here. Boom, done. How about this one right here? Run it through here. Why isn't every case like that? Why? Because it costs more and nobody wants to spend the extra 10 bucks. That's why. It's cheaper to do it yourself if your time is worth nothing. And it's not like you're ever going to just do it once. You're going to be getting in there again and again and again for upgrades, replacements, and repairs. That pays for itself so soon after you buy a computer. Very few people build their own computer and then never open it up again. The people who do that are the people that buy pre-builts, right? They buy a pre-built. Most people who buy pre-builts never open them. They never do an upgrade. It just runs. It usually doesn't even need repairs. It just gets old and it has to be replaced. But people that build their own, do yourself a favor. Don't you deserve nice things? It's only $10 more. You can't come up with the 10 bucks, but you'll spend $50 on zip ties over the next 10 years. Hey man, you do you. I don't get it. I just don't get it. All right, so come back around. These are all our front port umbilicals. That's going to be our USB, your power switch, power LED, assuming it's got a power LED and a hard drive LED. I don't even put that over there. Take a moment to untangle everything here. Now you'll see these are already cabled down from the factory for us. However, the problem is that may not be the efficient place for those cables to go. It might be and it might not be, but we can easily undo the Velcro and move them around if we want to take up extra slack. For example, we may not want this cable to come up from the bottom. We might want it to come up right here. So what we want to do is fold it in on itself underneath the Velcro zip ties and then have that move right across the side to keep the cable management nice and clean. It's not a big deal. You're not cutting zip ties. And you know, sometimes when you cut the zip ties, you cut into your wire and then you're screwed. This is all fans. That's our ARGB. Everything's already hooked up. That's already plugged in for us. Thank you, NZXT. All the fans are all plugged into each other, so you only have one power cable. Thank you, NZXT. That is not sarcasm. I sincerely mean thank you. You know, the power switch, the reset switch, the hard drive LED, the power LED, they always go on in the same orientation. Why do we have to put them on in pairs? The power cable gets split between positive and negative, and you have to, you know, really tiny, fine little tiny fingers and the little tiny pins. NZXT puts it on one block. That's everything. There's your 8 wires in one block in the standard pinout configuration. Just plug this one connector on the motherboard, and guess what? You just hooked up your power switch, your reset switch, your power LED, and your hard drive LED. Was that so hard? How come NZXT is the only company that does this? Remember that extra 10 bucks? You're also getting that. And they used to, although I don't see one in this case, they used to give you a little breakout for this to split them back to the old school way if you had a weird motherboard that wouldn't take them in this order. I've never seen a motherboard that doesn't take them in this order in the last 10 years. So I don't know who that's for. So anyway, it doesn't look like they're including it anymore. And good riddance. This is how it should be. Tell us what you really think, Carrie. So look, I'm going to feed that right up through here. Right up through there. I got to get my glasses because it's really dark and tiny in there. This only goes on in one direction. There's a pin that's missing. And there's a pin that's missing here. So you align the missing pins together and you slide it on. Boom. Power switch, reset switch, hard drive LED, power LED. They're all hooked up. One cable. That's it. You can't even put it on backwards. It's not even possible. Was that so hard? Why is it only NZXT doing this? Why is this not an industry standard? There's our front port audio cable. That's the same as they've always been, but some cases don't give you a hole back here to route the cable because it always goes in somewhere in this corner on a motherboard. Once again, you're going to have a missing pin. This one's the second row in, second pin in from the edge, and it's either going to be a missing pin on the top or a missing pin on the bottom, depending on the motherboard. This board has the missing pin on the top. So we align that. It only goes on in one direction. It will not go on any wrong way. It's a friction fit. There's no clip or anything. You just push it on. Done. Look how clean our cabling is. Are you kidding me right now? Why isn't every... I guess I've said this already. Why aren't they all like this? Here is our USB 3 cable right through there. I can just run that. And I'll clean it up in the cable track when I have 30 seconds later. But that's just going to plug in right there. Now check this out. On the top of this case, we have a USB Type-C. Now that has a different connector. A lot of cases don't come with a USB Type-C because it adds cost to the case. But when you spend that extra 10 bucks for your case, that's what you're getting. Suddenly that extra 10 bucks is seeming like a bargain now when you see all the extras you're getting instead of just shopping for the cheapest price. Because if you compare what you're getting for the price, you're actually getting a better value here. Better quality materials, better overall paint job, better fit and finish, better cable management, easier to work on, more roomy to put more things. I could put a radiator up here, I could put a radiator here, and I mean big ones, right? On both the front and the top if I wanted to. I've got a full 7 slots back here for a full-size ATX, which means I could put a micro ATX or even a mini ATX in here if I wanted to. That's how accommodating this case can be to your future needs. Now, where's my little USB Type-C plug? It's right there, right next to our power. So if I spin this around, you'll see what they've done here is they've brought this down to the bottom, and we need it all the way over here. We need it to come up here. And what they've done is they've zip tied it for some reason with the rest of these cables. And I've got to cut that zip tie in order to have enough length on that cable to make it reach. The zip ties feel a little unnecessary when you've got such a nice cable management track. So, you know, NZXT isn't perfect. They shouldn't have done that. I don't mind if they zip tied all the other cables together, but they should have left out this Type-C because a lot of motherboards that take these are going to take them up here towards the top. Yeah, you know what? Well, I'm in there. 2 birds, 1 stone, right? Do you like me now? Huh? That's what I'm talking about. There. Straighten that out. That there like that. Run that through here like that. Oh, I need this free though. I think. Wait, that actually might work. Let's do it that way. There's a little cover, a little dust cover. Get rid of that. And yeah, we'll just run it out, right? Actually, I think it's got to go up this way. Might make more sense for me to do this. Watch me work. Look at that. Oh, that's so much better. That way. And then this little guy right here is going to plug in right there. He only goes on one way, so if it doesn't fit, flip him around. And it just plugs in. The system is done. We are completely, oh no, wait, I gotta hook up the fans, don't I? Okay, so the fans, once again, we can, once we're done with this, oh, we got a little wire tie there. So we'll do this cleanup with a zip tie, and then that's gonna go in here. But just for now, so we can get this up and running, there's our ARGB, which our motherboard should support, I think. Do we have an ARGB plug on here? Yes, addressable LED all the way in the back. So we can run that right there and plug it in right there. And now we can control all the RGB on the case with the motherboard software if we want to. We don't have to hook this up. We could use just the default controller by pushing a button, usually somewhere. But since we can do this, let's do it. This cable does not want to go on. Come on now, what's the problem here? There it is. Okay, and then fan power right here. We just have one fan power connector. We probably have a fan connector down here we can use, maybe. Yeah, we've got one right there. We also have one right up here too. We got 1, 2, 3 up at the top. Fourth one we're using. We've got one here. And 1, 2 here. I think I'm going to go to this bottom one because it's just a cleaner look. Just plug that in right here. Just like that. Look. Look. Everything's hooked up. And apart from just this little thing here, which I just tire and stick in here, it's cable management's going to take me 3 minutes. Come on. I wouldn't hate RGB so much if it was all put together like this. I'm curious, is that rear case fan also plugged into the 3 front fans? Because usually they're not. Ah, it is not. That cable for the rear case fan needs to be plugged in on its own. And what they've done is they've run the cable through here to keep it from getting caught up on anything in shipping. I mean, I'm not even using that cable track, that whole side. So to plug this in, once again, if we look at where we have fan headers, I have one right here I could use. I have one here, but it's nowhere to hide the cable if we use that one. So that's going to look ugly. And we don't have enough cable. I don't think we have enough to run this straight down, but let me just double check. Let's just take it out of here for a minute and see, can we run it straight down and up? Oh. We just plug it next to this one on the bottom? We can. Look at that. It's just a 3-pin fan on a 4-pin header, no big deal. Either one works, 3 pins or 4 pins. Done. And check this out. If I want to hide this cable, just stick it in here. Look, check that out. nice and straight. I made that too tight now. Hold on. Let's straighten it first, then make it tight. I could even put a little zip tie in there to clean it up a little bit more. Look, now everything is 100% connected. It's basically all done. I did the whole job in 1 hour and 10 minutes, guys. Everything is done in 1 hour and 10. Let's go ahead and make sure the power supply is off. So there's the button I mentioned on the back of the power supply. They call it 0 RPM fan mode. Hey, that makes more sense than eco mode or hybrid mode. That tells you exactly what it's doing, except it doesn't stay at 0 RPM. It turns the fan on when the power supply gets hot enough to require it. So don't worry, you're not turning the fan off permanently. You're just turning it off when the power supply is not running hot, reducing the amount of dust and stuff bringing in there, okay? And then I need a keyboard and a mouse. I need a monitor. We need internet. We'll plug that in here. And monitor. Set my case panel right on top of this cable. We're using onboard video on this build. Let's see, keyboard and a mouse. Keyboard and a mouse. Right here. Take that. Turn this on. I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to use one of these up here. You know what? Because I can. I want to make sure they work. And then we're going to come over here to OBS. We're going to turn our HDMI input on. And we're going to take camera 1 and we'll stick me up in a corner. Bad Carrie, get in the corner. It wasn't me. And then I'm going to hit the power button. Problem is, I haven't turned the power supply on yet. So let's turn the power supply on. Power button. There it goes. There it goes. All 3 fans on the front are turning. Rear fan is turning. Power supply fan is turning. Everything is hooked up properly. I have a power light up here, as I should. And hopefully we're going to get some video out of this, or it's going to be a real short trip. There it is. All right. Sorry, I had a Millennium Falcon Harrison Ford moment in my head there. All right, let's put the flashlight back. Dust cover over there. We're done. That's it. Covers go back on it. System is complete. That's all there is to it. Now I have another one to build, and that one's going to be in white. Otherwise, it's the exact same case, the exact same cabling. Everything is exactly the same. Same RAM, same CPU. I might use a different solid state drive, but that's going to be under the heatsink and you don't see it anyway. Video cards can't sag in this case, says John Paul Bacon. Oh, they can. Oh, absolutely. Video cards can sag in this case, but for those cards, they do sell video card supports, which this case should have no problem accommodating. Because when the video card is hanging off the edge here with nothing supporting it this way, at least the motherboard isn't going to give. The only thing that can give is the video card. So if the video card's big and heavy, there are optional video card supports that go basically into the shroud and hold up your card so that it will stay straight. Some cards even come with that. Jim KJ3N says, Kerry can build a PC in less than an hour. It's just all the talking that slows him down. It's the teaching. I'm trying to teach. If you guys just watch me build without listening to me explain anything, you might have a hard time understanding what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. So that kind of defeats the whole purpose of making a YouTube video as far as I'm concerned. So yes, you try and teach while you work, and I guarantee it slows you down big time. But, you know, that's the sacrifice I make for my community. It looks like I missed a big contribution. Frankie B with $49.99 in Super Chat. Right on. Thank you, Frankie B. You rock. All right, I need to get a colder Gatorade. For some reason, Feel a little hot. I don't know what's going on. I don't drink coffee, so that's not it. I haven't had any extra caffeine today that I'm aware of. Just super excited. You know, when I can work on a system that's a pleasure to work on, I really enjoy my work. Where am I? I'm over here. I really enjoy my work when something like this is such a pleasure to work on. And check this out. Look, we can put this right back up here where it was, right? That goes which way? I think it went this way. Little tabs go in there, like so. Little tabs go in there. Right, we can put that right back. We take out my mouse for a second, my keyboard and mouse dongle, so that way I can put the top back on. Where did I do with the top? It's around here somewhere. Oh, I put it behind the glass. Yeah, we don't have to put this back in any particular order. We slide this piece down here like this, right? Then just push it on. Just clicks, clicks. Do the peel. Oh, excuse me. And put the lid back on here. Bada boom, bada bing. You're in, you're out. Customer's happy. Sale is done. You got a rock solid system that's going to be great for the next, at least the next 8 years. 13500 processor. It's beautiful. It's easy to work on. It's timeless. We can adjust the RGB. We make it all purple. You can't really see much in the purple here through the window, but you can still see the graffiti. The white really sticks out. That might actually work better on the white case. I think I'm seeing what Camera Girl was seeing now. Nice clean back area here, right? Plenty of room to add a video card. Plenty of room for more storage. 2.5-inch drives here, 3.5-inch drives there. Nice cable management routes, makes it super easy. Obviously, this is to be cleaned up, but at least they did everything for you. It's all right hooked up out of the box. So it's just a matter of getting a zip tie and then sticking it in one of these tracks, and then that back panel can go on. Was that so hard? I don't think so. You can also see a little RGB going on the board inside, kind of coming out from the bottom of the board. And it's matching because we plugged the ARGB connector onto the board. You'll notice the color on the back of the board, the RGB color, is changing to the exact same color at the exact same time with the fans. They're all synchronized together. If I put on the ASRock ARGB software, if I download that from their site, then I can control that ARGB and make it do whatever I want. I don't see any button on here to control the ARGB manually, so I don't know. I guess with NZXT, you cannot control it. As far as I can tell, I don't see any buttons anywhere on the system to go through the RGB colors manually. It's kind of a surprise. It's hidden somewhere. Just haven't found it yet. We do have another filter. Why is that so tiny? Oh, this filter is for the fans right here. Oh, that's clever. I've never seen that before. Look how tiny that is. Ah, there's a little filter right there. And then we should have another one in the back for the power supply. Yeah, here it is. Make sure you clean these twice a year. Twice a year. Now, if you open it up in 6 months and it's pretty clean, then you only need to clean yours once a year. So at the very least, clean that once a year, or you're suffocating your power supply while you're patting yourself on the back with all the fans you added, and your power supply's over there going, okay, it's having trouble breathing because you've choked it to death with dust because you never cleaned that filter. But hey, none of the big tech channels really talk about that very often, so don't worry about it. I think that's the logic people use on the internet. You got to be aware of your equipment, regardless of what the person on YouTube says. Okay? Maybe you already are. And if you are, congratulations. You do not represent the majority. But we're trying to get people educated here. We're trying to get people to understand that, well, you could see motivation or inspiration from these big tech channels. The reality is a little different in the sense that They are not necessarily covering 100% of everything you need to know. They're only covering what they want you to know or what they think generates clicks. And that information may be incomplete. And if that information is new to you, how do you know it's incomplete? Well, that's what I'm here to do. I'm here to fill in those gaps. Thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm going to take a look here in the chat room. Planet Cryos with a $10 super chat says just a simple hello. Hey, right on. Thank you, Planet Cryos. Nick Caffrey says, I had a whole bunch of questions about where the cables go and you answered them all in this video. Right on. And you can rewind this video and watch it over and over and over until you have it memorized and are ready to pass the test. Eugene Hidalgo says, hello, welcome in, Eugene. Jim KJ3N says you can see the AMD version of this motherboard on my channel. Hey, there you go. Check out Jim KJ3N's channel for show him some love. Send him a subscribe over there. Ron Barnish says he picked up a mini PC from Amazon for $85. What a deal. Oh, it's an AMD A9. No wonder. All right. Well, you enjoy that. Hope you're not doing anything quick. Let's see. Gary Tatum says, I'd put an RGB strip to light the inside. If you use a white case in a club with black lights, it'll light up like a neon bulb. Yeah, you know, I was thinking of that. I thought about a black light inside of it for that particular motherboard. But, you know, the window is so smoked, it'd be hard to see the RGB through it unless it's a dark room. So it's really the RGB on the front of the case that stands out. And because the window is smoked intentionally to obscure the insides, and that's great. But hey, you want to spend money on RGB strips, don't let me get in your way. Gary also sent us a motherboard that he's no longer using and a processor, and I've got that sitting right over there. I got that the other day. He packed it very, very well. Nice thick box as well as good packing. And honestly, it didn't need to be packed that well, but he's got, looks like everything's complete, gigabyte motherboard box with the board and the CPU. And then we'll do something with that here in the future. We'll make a build, and I don't know what we'll do with it, but we'll figure out something. It's I think that's a 10th gen build, isn't it? Let's see. Richard Cullen joins us, says hello, welcome in, Richard. Kevin Perry says, I'm itching to upgrade one of my i5-9600Ks. Might use this case instead of reusing the Corsair 200R. Hey, nothing wrong with the Corsair 200R. I would not use this case in a business. Businesses don't want the glass. They don't want the RGB. So the right case for the right environment. You know, if you've got this in a home and you're looking for something a little more flashy and a bit larger, like you cannot put a liquid cooler in a 200R. At least nothing bigger than like a 120. So with this case, your options are more available, but at the same time, it takes up more room. It's a much larger case than a 200R. It is both longer and taller and wider. But it also costs 2.5 times the cost of a 200R, but it's 2.5 times the case. It's really, you know, whether or not it meets your needs. I don't think the 200R is a bad case at all. In fact, it still remains my favorite. You won't be messing with any RGB or liquid cooling or any of that other nonsense. When it comes to work, when it comes to business, the 200R has no peers in the industry as far as I'm concerned. The 110Q is pretty close from Corsair, but the 200R is still the original king, as far as I'm concerned. Ben wants to know if I prefer that case or the streaming PC case. I prefer the streaming PC case because it's smaller, except I can't put all the cards I want into the streaming PC case because it's only a micro ATX board and I'm limited. But if I had this case, there wouldn't be any room to put it in that shelf. Everything would have to get moved and it would be inconvenient. But at the same time, I would have more room to upgrade things. So there is no right or wrong answer here. There's limitations regardless of which way I go. And the reason why that case stays and that case will stay is because that's the best case for the job for my needs. If I thought this case was better, then guess what? You'd be watching a stream very soon where that was gone and this was in its place. So some of these questions are going to find answered in time. There's a reason why that stays there. And despite the limitations, the other limitations going to the bigger case, to me, are less desirable. Given a choice of the lesser of two evils, I'm sticking with that one. Daniel says, I wish it could have been clear glass to show off the motherboard. I disagree. I think smoke glass is a much classier way to go. Did I leave plastic on the inside of the glass? The glass may be a little bit clearer if I took all the plastic off of it. I think there's plastic on the inside that needs to come out, and that might make it a little clearer. Let me just see. Yeah, there's plastic. Let's do that again. Well, that took 20 seconds. It might be a little clearer. It's one of those things where if you're at a distance, you're not really going to notice. You really have to come up. And if you come up to it, you can see it just fine. So I think it's just the right amount of smokiness. Me personally, I'm very happy with that design. Planet Cryos with $2 super chat contribution said, I'm going to make a homemade pizza. See you again. Right on. I had pizza last night. Kevin Perry said, someone on here mentioned a Corsair rep said they have no intention to continue with the 200Rs. Has there been any confirmation? They've been saying that for 8 years, Kevin. For 8 years. 8 years. 8 years I've been hearing over and over and over, and I swear to God, I'm going to ban the next person that wants to continue that nonsense. No, there is no confirmation that the best-selling case Corsair has ever made is being canceled. Why would they do that? If you go to Corsair.com and look at their online catalog, the 200R is available in the catalog. Why would it be in the catalog? Why is it in the catalog? Go to Amazon and look for a 200R. Are there any for sale? Yes, there are. Well, isn't that weird for a thing they're not making anymore? They've been not making this for 8 years, Kevin. 8 years I've been hearing this. Can you tell how I feel about this? Stop it. It's nonsense. When you go to Corsair.com and the 200R is not in the catalog, you let me know. Until then, it's all just people making noise for no reason. The evidence is in the catalog. It's super easy. Corsair.com. Search 200R. Does it appear? Yeah, but it's out of stock. Okay, but it doesn't say it's not there anymore, right? It's just out of stock. If it wasn't in the catalog, if no item was found, that means they don't make it anymore. For 8 years, you guys have been doing this to me. Please stop. That's how I feel about that. It just really, really gets under my skin. And I'm going to just keep ignoring people. This is it. This is my comment. From now on, when anybody comes in here with that nonsense, after 8 years of it, I'm ignoring them. That's all it's going to be. So sick of that. Yeah, I can go to Corsair.com and I can look in the catalog and it's there. And I can go to Amazon and I can look and they're for sale. But some guy I don't know who claims he talked to another guy said that they're not going to make it anymore. Is there any truth to that? Really? Really? That one got you confused, does it? I don't know who to believe. The actual website from the manufacturer or some guy that's nameless that apparently works for the company who said something to some other guy who I don't know. Either one could be the fact. Which one is it? How can I tell? Oh my gosh, I have no idea how to know the truth. Essential working too hard says, Carrie, tell us how you really feel about this. All those 200R cases I got, apparently I just wished them true because they stopped making them 8 years ago. Why do people do this? Why do they sit there and just and there's no evidence? It's just, well, I heard Sally said that John said that Bob said, well, I wonder if that's true. Well, I don't know. I don't know how we could possibly verify that's true. If we only had some connection to all of the information available to mankind at our key, right in our phones, we could know this in seconds. We could verify the evidence. Give me names. I want names. Give me the name of this representative. Tell me his name. Tell me what department he works in and give me his email address, and I'll verify it for you. So stupid. All right. Trevor says the Corsair 200R is available in Ireland. I built a few PCs with this case. I've been using this case for over 12 years. The number one selling case Corsair makes. They've never made a case that sold as many as a 200R. Why in the world would they stop making it? All right. Thomas Backenstow says, I know a guy who knew a guy. I know that guy too. He's an idiot. Mortot said it is 90 degrees in Maryland. Woo! It's a little toasty in Maryland. Bikeman says, I purchased my Thermaltake V200 TG RGB from a local shop. It was like, well, that one looks good. Yeah, good luck finding replacement fans. Try and find a replacement fan for your Thermaltake V200 RGB fan. It's a 6-pin, I believe you have a 6-pin fan connector onto a proprietary fan controller, and Thermaltake will not sell those fans. The only way you can get them is with the case. So you can't just change one. You'd have to change all 3 fans to go to standard RGB and then change your fan controller. And that's going to cost you right around $75. Or you could buy a new Thermaltake case with 3 new fans for $70 at Amazon. So remember that system I was working on? That's like a V200 Thermaltake, something similar. And the fan was seized up. And I reached out to Thermaltake and I said, hey, how do I get one of these fans? And they said, you can't, we don't sell them. We only include them with a case. I said, but I need one. And they go, well, you can just add another fan. I go, but I can't. The RGB will not sync up. They all have to be the same. That means I got to change all 3 of these proprietary 6-pin fans and the proprietary 6-pin fan controller. That's going to cost me more than the case cost. So you know what I did? I took the fan out, I removed the sticker off the back. I drilled a hole into the back of, so when you look at the, do I have a fan? I took the fan out. This is a different fan, but they're all kind of the same. And I pull the sticker off. I get a razor blade and I pull the sticker off. And sometimes there's a little bearing cap here that pops off. But in the case of Thermaltake, you know, it's all molded in place. So I got a drill and I drilled a hole, being careful not to go in too deep, and took all the little shreds of plastic so they didn't fall in the hole. Then I got WD-40 and I took this outside, set it over the ground, and I sprayed the crap out of it with WD-40. And then I spun the fan around and got that WD-40 working in there. Then I plugged the fan in and it works perfectly fine. So then I grabbed my hot melt glue gun and I dripped glue so that it dripped down over the hole, not in the hole, because I don't want the hot melt glue to go into the bearing. And then that covered that hole back up so that it doesn't get any more dirt and dust in there. And that's how I fixed the fan. I don't like doing that because I don't know how long it's going to last. You know, that fan might last 3 months or 3 years, I don't know. But it was cheaper to order a new Thermaltake case for $70 than to buy a whole new fan kit and do all that work. And since the owner said, look, I don't even care about the RGB, I said, yeah, but when I do a job, I do it right. And if I'm not going to do it right, I'm not going to do it at all. This fan is going to get fixed one way or the other. And since he doesn't care, we'll just run that. And since he's local, I'm not shipping it anywhere. If he has any future problems with it, it'd be super easy for me to just peel off that hot melt glue that I put on there. It just peels off. Spray some WD-40 in it, work it around. A little hot melt glue back over it. We're good again for however long. Who knows? Maybe it'll just work forever that way. I don't know, but you better believe Thermaltake is on my list right now. I am so pissed off that they sell a product and then say they give you the middle finger when you need a replacement part. We don't sell the replacement part. Well, that would have been nice to know if it was advertised at the time the person made the cart purchase. Oh, by the way, if you buy this and you need a fan, you're screwed. You got to replace them all and the controller. Oh, how much is that? Oh, it's about $5 more than just buying the whole case all over again. Didn't tell me that at the time of purchase. So I'm not real happy with Thermaltake at the moment. If you go to Amazon.com and look for the 200R, you know what? I got to do everything myself, right? Amazon. Am I making a big enough deal out of this? Amazon. Watch this. 200R enter. Oh my gosh, it took so much time. Oh, wait a minute. Why didn't it come up? All right. That didn't work like I thought it was going to. Corsair. All right, I had to type a little bit more. What's this? What is this? What do I see right here? What is this? I'll wait. Now, if you're in the USA and you want to order this, you'll notice it's $100 delivery because it's coming from Amazon's global store in the UK. So if you're in Ireland or Scotland or Wales or England, that is the UK, last I checked, and this should be available to you. And you wouldn't have to pay that much shipping or wait that much time. Now, are we still going to talk about this? Are you going to let it go? Are we still going to bring it up? Because I'd really like to not talk about this. It's really disturbing. There are limited quantities, and when they're sold, and then you have to wait for the next shipment. When's the next shipment? Who knows? And when they come in, they're going to go out real quick, so you have to be alerted when they're available. I've made videos telling you guys when they're available. I've done that twice in the last year. They've already been in stock twice in the last year and sold out usually within 4 or 5 days. I don't know why Corsair's doing that. I don't know what the limitations are. Obviously, if they're selling out, they're not ordering enough. You can write to Corsair and let them know. We'd like to have these in stock on a regular basis so we don't have to buy them in advance. But if you want that 200R, you better buy it when it's in stock, not when you need it. You know you're going to need it and it's in stock, buy it now. It's not like the price is going to change. Case prices only go up. They never go down, not unless there's some kind of sale. But generally speaking, it's not like CPU or RAM or storage where prices constantly go down. Power supplies and cases, their prices are pretty much the same today as they were 3 years ago. So if you want to hoard those things and buy extras when they're on sale, you can let them sit on a shelf like I did with this power supply here. I've had this power supply over 3 years, sealed in a box. It's the same power supply. It works the same on the same equipment. The motherboards still use the same stuff. If I waited until I need it and they don't make it anymore, I wouldn't have it. And if you don't like that, then don't buy that case. Buy a case that's in stock. Nick says, I tried at amazon.co.uk. It's not in stock. Well, I just showed you it was in stock. So I don't know. Maybe you need to contact somebody at customer service. I can't see what you're seeing. So I just showed you what I'm seeing. I can show you what I see. You saw it. So you take it up with them. I'm not talking about this anymore. It's stupid. It's just stupid. It's just a case. Who cares? Get a 110Q. It's basically the same thing. Do they even have the 110Qs in stock? Who knows? Let me guess. They don't make those anymore either, right? Do I still have Thready? Ben wants to know. Yeah, Thready's over at Studio A. He hasn't been booted up in a few months. He's probably going to be missing a lot of updates. But when I stream from Studio A, I stream from Thready. It's still set up as a streamer. And the option of streaming from Studio A exists because of Thready and the equipment that's left over there for just that occasion. But it has been neglected. Jim KJ3N says the only cases I've ever regretted buying were Rosewell cases. They're horrible. I think that's Newegg's brand, isn't it, Rosewell? Chris Johnson said he's got the Corsair 110Q and it holds the PC innards quite well. Yeah, it's basically a 200R replacement. It's pretty close. Tim Teal says he still has an NZXT 650 watt power supply that went on sale over a year ago. I think he means it's still new in a box, just sitting around. You never know when you need a. If you're in my business, I need power supplies all the time. So I have power supplies that have been sitting around for years. Sometimes I'll get rid of a power supply because it doesn't have like the 80 plus. You know, when that change happened, the power supplies got better. And I don't want to use a non-80 plus rated power supply in any of my customer builds because repairs go down significantly. The quality is so much better on 80 plus. I don't even care who makes it. If it's 80 plus, just a better power supply. So I got rid of all my non-80 plus power supplies. Some were brand new in a box. So I said, I'm not going back to that ever again. And I think I've only had 2 power supplies that are 80 plus rated die ever in the history of using 80 plus power supplies. That keeps customer satisfaction up, keeps warranty down, keeps profits up, keeps customers happier, keeps Carrie happier, keeps Carrie in business. Patrick Ollie has just become a supporter. Hey, thank you, Patrick. Thanks for joining the Tech Club. $384 people watching right now. Welcome in, everybody. Hope you're having a great Friday. What a fun build this was. I really, if you can't tell, I really enjoyed this build. It was such a pleasure. And yeah, I can start building the next one, which is, again, the exact same build, only in white. The link for the case, motherboard, CPU, RAM, storage, power supply, all of that is in the video description below this video. For the keyboard and the Lazy Sues and all the tools I use, all of that is in my Amazon store. There's a link for that video description below the video. If you enjoyed this video, you can let me know by giving it the thumbs up. Right underneath the video, there's a thumbs up. And by clicking that, you're telling the content creator, I want to see more like this. Videos that don't get many thumbs up, well, don't expect to see more of those very often. If you like the content and you want to see more of it when it goes live, you've got to subscribe and click the bell icon to turn on notifications. How you get notified is up to you. That's in your YouTube account settings. And you can always Google how to configure notifications on YouTube. And Google's got a whole write-up depending on if you're using an iPhone, an Android phone, if you're using a tablet or a television, or you're using a PC. It's all different ways depending on how you're getting to YouTube. But you have to create a free YouTube account. If you don't have a free YouTube, if you're just going to youtube.com and you're not signing in, then you're not getting anything saved to preferences or favorites. None of that's happening for you. I don't know why you wouldn't. It's free. It's the second most visited website in the world. So it's not like anybody's watching what you're doing. Nobody cares what you're doing. It's there simply to, well, first of all, they like to rack up the number of users they have so they can increase the value of their shares to their shareholders. Look how many users we have. So that's why user accounts are free. Then by creating that free user account, you have the ability to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can be alerted, as well as have other content that the algorithm thinks you're going to be interested in being offered to you. None of that happens if you're just like logging in from your TV and you don't even sign into YouTube. A lot of people that use their televisions to watch YouTube do not sign into YouTube, but you can on your television sign into YouTube. The account is free, or don't. And then when you miss out on content because, ignorance is bliss, then you won't know what you're missing, and you'll stay happy because you'll never know until you figure out what you missed, and then you're angry that you missed it. And it's because you didn't sign up for the free account because, I don't know, you couldn't be bothered, or you thought people were spying on you. Nobody cares what you do. They don't care what videos you're watching. There's billions of people on the planet. You're not standing out to see what you're doing on YouTube. It's all done by algorithms and math, and it's just processing. So unless you're a particular public figure, politician, somebody famous, nobody cares. Get over yourself. Or don't, it's fine, whatever. But it's tough when people complain that, oh, I'm missing the content. And I'm sad because I want you to see the content, but then you won't do what you need to do to get to see the content because you got some conspiracy theory or some other nonsense that's unjustifiable and unprovable. And then I don't even know how to talk to people like that anymore. It's just like, okay, somebody lives in their own little world. That's fine. You can stay there. I'm not going there. You're welcome to go in whatever world you want, and I'm welcome to not join you there. But the rest of us, we're over here. And if you decide you want to join us, you're welcome. Our world is in a bubble like that. You can come on in if you want to, but we won't force you in. Okay. What else? What else? Any other questions? Nobody's going to ask me any questions. You're afraid. I know you're afraid. Garfield wants to know, what's the benefit of having YouTube Premium? Well, for me, the benefit is not watching commercials. Now, that doesn't stop me from watching big YouTube tech channels that make 30-minute infomercials on products disguised as content when it's nothing more than a big commercial. But that's my choice to click away from that or to watch it if I want to. But those ads that appear before and after, or sometimes in the middle of a video, all that goes away as a YouTube Premium subscriber. And it's a better way to support the content creators that you're watching. I make more per view from premium subscribers, from premium YouTube subscribers who watch my videos than from non-subscribers or non-premium. So subscribers, when you subscribe to a YouTube channel, there's no benefit to the content creator at all. The content creator doesn't get paid any more or any less because you subscribed. I know we say thank you for subscribing, right? It's a polite thing to say, but it doesn't get us paid. So some people think they're doing the content creator a favor by subscribing, but you're not. You're doing yourself a favor by being made aware when that content creator you like is making content and you want to know right away. You do that by subscribing and turning on notifications. You're doing that for you. You're not doing that for them. They don't make any money off of that either way. But if you watch, they make 1/4 of a penny from your view. 1/4 of a penny for that one video, that one view. On average, that's what a content creator makes. So whether or not you watch or not, it's worth, there'd have to be 4 of you to equal 1 penny for that one video in 30 days. So there's not a financial incentive there to really bend over backwards for subscribers, unless what you're doing is selling sponsorships and you're justifying how much you want the sponsor to pay you based on how many subscribers you have, which is a stupid measure because I have way more subscribers than I have viewers. I mean, look at the number of views my videos get. And look at the number of subscribers, 382,000, 381,000 subscribers. And my average views are around 6,000 views in a week. Now, granted, there's a couple videos that'll go to 100,000 in a week every once in a while, but then they just peter off. So if every subscriber watched my video once, every video would get 380,000 views, right? That's not how it works. So the subscribers don't really bring any value. They don't. But the idea is that we're manipulating the data to sell sponsorships. So I can come here and tell you, you should buy this XYZ such and such, and I collect a check. And I'm selling you. Any content creator that does that is selling you. That's what they're doing. You don't get any money from it. The sponsor keeps the content creator keeps the money. And the more of you they have to sell, the more money they get. I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to simply say, look, I've got some products here that I use myself in real life in my real business. And I've worked with these companies to get you a cheaper price than anybody else pays because you're my viewer. If you want to buy it, buy it. And if you don't, don't. I'm not selling you. I'm not sure you're aware of how this business works, but it sucks. You are being used as a subscriber by the big, those million+ channels that, you know, they have 1 million subscribers plus. They're breaking in tens of thousands of dollars from sponsorships by selling you to their sponsor. And they don't share that profit with you. In exchange, you get the content. If you become a YouTube premium member, you don't have to watch all the advertisements. And when you watch your favorite content creator, they make more per view, regardless if they have sponsors or not. They make more for your view than a non-premium. The amount of money a content creator gets paid because you, as a premium YouTube subscriber, watch their video is like 6 times or something what a regular viewer, non-premium, makes for a content creator. And you don't have to watch the ads. It's like, what, $12 a month? Yeah, I signed up for it because I'm tired of watching the ads. Barry Klein says, I'd never watch YouTube without a premium membership. Having a music video interrupted with a commercial is just horrible, and I spend much more time on YouTube since getting the membership. You and me both. I watch more YouTube than television. I don't even see commercials anymore. If I turn on TV and it's got a commercial, I walk out of the room or I change a channel. I have no tolerance for it. But you get a plaque for subscribers. I know that isn't money, sadly. Yeah, what do you do with that plaque? You get 100,000 subscribers, you get a plaque. And then what? Then what? What do you do with it? Does that help you make content? Does that help you pay for the cameras? Does that help you pay for the bandwidth? Does it help you pay for what it takes to make the content? It's a plaque. It has no value at all. Nothing. Do you see mine hanging up? Who cares? It has no value. It's just like, hey, I decided I'm going to give you a promotion. I'm going to make you a manager. You go, that's great. What's my salary going to be? Oh, it's the same salary. But now you're going to be responsible for more things. But you'll also get to be calling yourself, you get a manager badge. Are you going to accept that promotion? Because that ain't a promotion. You're being manipulated. But don't let me stop you. If you truly think that's a real promotion, oh, your employer must love you. GWC Coster says, I have a bad feeling for ad blockers. Yeah, ad blockers need to go away, period. People are stealing content and they're robbing content creators out of their own selfishness and cheapness. And it's ruining it for the entire industry. If we want YouTube to exist, then YouTube needs to block ad blockers the same way the New York Times and the Washington Post. If they see you've got an ad blocker, you cannot read their articles. It's not that much to ask if you're getting the content for free and you're not paying anything to let them at least put the pop-up on the screen so they can make their quarter of a penny. But the selfish greediness that exists out on the internet and the entitlement is what has ruined so many free services that are no longer with us that you've all forgotten about. But there are plenty that I can remind you about, from Log Me In Free to a countless other plethora of other free services that have gone away through the abuse of the end user not following the agreed upon rules. And if YouTube has to take it upon themselves to block the ad blockers, I'm all for it. What entitlement gives you the right to run that ad blocker and get the same content as everybody else without making the same sacrifice we're all agreeing to make? That's not fair, and you don't deserve it. That's my opinion. If you don't like it, don't watch YouTube, or get YouTube Premium, or allow the ads. It's really simple. Those are the rules. You don't want to play by the rules? Then don't cry foul when you don't win the game or you're not allowed to play anymore. It's got to be fair for everybody. It's not just about you. That is messed up. Messed up that so many content creators are losing thousands of dollars because of the selfishness of inconsiderate and entitled people that say, I don't want to watch the ads. Well, then stop watching YouTube or pay for YouTube Premium, because this is where it's going. You're leaving YouTube no choice. No choice. I can almost guarantee you blocking ad blockers is almost guaranteed to come, and likely soon. Don't be surprised. The more you use the ad blocker, the sooner it's going to happen. This only goes one way. It's not sustainable for you to keep stealing content. I mean, if you're running an ad blocker and you're not a YouTube Premium subscriber, then I'm not making that quarter of a penny. I'm not getting that from you. So do you think I care? Oh, woe is me. My ad blocker won't let me, YouTube is blocking it. So what? What do I care? What was in it for me? What's in it for me with how much money do I have in today's video? How many how many hundreds of dollars do I have in parts on the counter? How's that getting paid for? You don't care. Well, guess what? That goes the other way too. If that's how you are, then that's how I am back at you. You don't care about me, I don't care about you. If you do care about me, then I do care about you. You give, you get what you give. You give what you get. That's the world you want to live in. Be prepared for the consequences of what you're creating. You reap what you sow. It's all just a matter of time, man. Sooner or later, Piper comes a-calling, man. You got to pay him, or suffer the consequences. So, yeah, the entitlement in the world is bad right now. People think they're deserving of it. And you have no idea the amount of money and stress content creators go through. And then to just have it stolen sucks. Stolen by complete strangers who you did nothing to. What did I ever do to you? What if your paid members use an ad blocker? Are you still getting paid? Paid members, I'm still getting paid. Yeah, so that doesn't matter. So if somebody's either paying for membership to the tech club, or if they're saying, hey, look, I use an ad blocker, but I'm going to throw a little super chat your way, that's more than I would make from their view anyway, right? So any of that, or even if they're YouTube Premium subscribers that run an ad blocker, which doesn't make any sense because there's no ads when you're a premium subscriber, also gets me paid more. So any of those, any sort of sacrifice from the viewer financially, whether that's through turning off the ad blocker, super chat contribution, membership, or YouTube Premium subscription, levels the playing field. Now you are exchanging money for goods and services, or you're exchanging your time in exchange to watch an ad that pays your entrance fee instead of sneaking in under the fence. If only a couple of people were doing it, it wouldn't be a big deal, but this just grows and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And YouTube is the second most visited website, second only to Google, in the world. And those numbers are massive, and the losses are into the millions. So, yeah, you can fully expect ad blocking where YouTube's going to pop up just like the New York Times, just like the Washington Post. They're going to say, we've noticed you've run an ad blocker. If you want to watch this content, you need to disable your ad blocker for this site, and then click here to resume, or click here to go back to wherever you came from. Why would they treat you any differently? Why would they treat you like you had any value if you're not bringing any value? Why would you be upset by that? You're trying to steal, and they're saying enough is enough. It's what's right. They're doing what is right because so many viewers, enough of them are not doing what is right, and they think they're justified and entitled in doing it, but they don't have any authority, and they don't make the rules, and they have no power. So they'll either follow the rules or they're going to enforce the rules. And in either case, the results are going to be the same. They either will do what everybody else is doing and play by the rules, or they'll take their viewing somewhere else. Either way, YouTube's saving money, because if they're not spending money on bandwidth to people that are stealing the content, that's saving YouTube money. You're not costing the money by leaving. If you're somebody that uses an ad blocker, you're saving the money by leaving. But if you're a contributor, right, whether that's to the content creator or to memberships or to YouTube Premium, or you let the ads play, you're of value to YouTube and they want you to stick around. Sure. That's how it works. It's the way it's always worked. It's never changed. I want you to think about something for a second, and then we'll change the subject. If I was making what I should be making on this channel without the sponsorships, just from viewers doing the right thing and not using ad blockers, I could be in my house in Michigan in a big studio running, being able to pay camera operators and editors and being able to release much higher quality of content, much more expensive content, like stuff involving expensive high-end stuff. And I'd be able to do it at least 5 days a week, if not 7 days a week, by having other people, not just me doing everything, right? But by having other people working on projects. So every day a new project could come out without me having to kill myself to make it. And the reason that hasn't happened is why? Am I not working hard enough? Am I not spending enough of my money on the content? Am I not putting enough debt on my credit cards? What's got to happen for me to even to make what I was making 2 years ago when my channel was half this size? It's gotten worse. It hasn't gotten better. That means my content is being strangled financially. And I have to be more creative with the content I make, and I've got to kind of stretch it out a little bit and change the type of content I'm making to more affordable content, but still content that I want to make, that I'm genuinely interested in, but I'm restricted financially by what I can do. And I shouldn't be. A channel of this size should be clearing way, way more money than I'm making, way more. I should be driving my Tesla. I should be in my $1 million house. None of that's happened. Why? And it's not just because of what YouTube's paying. It's because of that whole situation of the rampantness of ad blockers and how much revenue is being lost by YouTube, which is then being lost by the creators who are paid by YouTube. It sucks. It sucks. Okay, now, enough of that. Sarge Tech said, your content is already high quality and we appreciate it. That's why I joined and helped support it. Hey, Sarge Tech, I appreciate it. But let me give you an example. I did the Big Beast build. Okay, that was a $10,000 computer. And I made a massive investment risk on it. And I said, I think I can get 10 videos out of this because it's a complicated build. And I think those videos will perform better because people will be more likely to watch a big expensive build than a cheap one, just like people are more likely to watch a Ferrari review than a Chevy Cruze review, even though they'll likely buy a Chevy Cruze long before they'll ever buy a Ferrari. And I made that investment. And that video did not perform any better than if I just showed you guys how to make a pizza for $4. I made the exact same amount of money. Now, granted, I did get 10 videos out of it. So each video pretty much performed exactly the same and paid exactly the same, but nowhere did it come anywhere near $10,000 in revenue. It probably came up to maybe $1,000 in revenue with a $9,000 loss. And I said, okay, well, that didn't work. So now what do I do? And, you know, Doug Betts called me and he said, hey, you want to sell that big beast? I was like, yes, please. And I took a loss on it financially because I figured, you know, with the money I made from the video, I'll take that off of what I've got invested. So I break even. Doug gets a good deal. I get this big financial burden off my back. And I can use that money then to spend a little wiser on cheaper things for the content. So what you don't know is there's this content I want to make that I can't afford to make, man. So while I appreciate that you're enjoying my creativeness with what I'm doing with what little I have, there's so much bigger things I want to do and I can't. And I won't do a big beast build ever again. That was a business risk that did not pay off. Not even close. It was one of the dumbest financial moves I ever made. Thank goodness Doug Betts came around and wanted that system. He knows he got a really good price on it. I helped him. He helped me. We both won in that situation. He's happy. I'm happy. I got lucky. What were the odds that that was going to happen? Do you know where that big beast build would be today? It would be sitting right here collecting dust. So there's some very serious financials going on behind the scenes here. And I don't know why it has to be this tough, especially after all the years I've been doing this. Trevor says, I'd like to see some videos that are pre-recorded, not live. No. Pre-recorded videos take too much time to record, edit, and post, and they don't generate any more revenue. So why would I work 3 times harder? It doesn't make any sense. There's no logic in that. I could release 5 videos in a week, all live, all 2 to 3 hours with a ton of content. And if each video gets 4,000, 5,000 views, that's 25,000 total views for the week. Or I can film on Monday, do filming corrections on Tuesday while I'm editing Tuesday and Wednesday, and then render and post Thursday so I can release it on Friday. I can do all that work so I can make 5,000 views. And in that week, you'll get one shorter bit of content that's edited. All the other content and all the other information that I would have released for the week, you don't get. And now my videos look just like everybody else's. So what's so special about my channel? Now I'm just doing what everybody else is doing. And the amount of work I'm doing is much, much harder. The money that I'm making is much, much lower. And that's going to result in 1 video a week, 4 videos a month. And when I get check at the end of the month, there won't be enough for me to pay the rent. So if you want to see this channel just go right down the drain, that's the way to go. When I do it live, you know it's real, you know it's genuine, you know that the content that I'm providing is unscripted. There's no sponsorship controlling what I'm saying. And you get a variety of information throughout the week, from building and upgrading to repairing to networking to mini PCs to, I mean, we've covered so much. Just look in the last 7 days what I've done on this channel. Show me another channel that produces that many hours of content and that variety of content. As far as I know, it doesn't exist. I got a lot to share with you guys, and I don't have time to sit around and edit it only so I can turn around and make 80% less revenue and provide 80% less content. It doesn't make any sense. Other channels are already doing that. Why would you want to turn this channel into like all the other ones when you could just go to the other ones for that? Where can you go to get this? Where does this exist on YouTube? As far as I know, this is the only place. Why would you want to make this like everybody else? Martin Hogg contributes £4.99, says, hey, Carrie and Camera Girl, good to join again. Appreciate your skill, attitude, and morals. A big thanks. Hey, thank you, Martin. I appreciate it. Tim Saul said the big beast is so cool to see it in real life. Yeah. I don't know that the camera really did it justice. It is a monster. Yeah. Did you finish the 13900 KS? No, that's sitting right over here to my left. You're right. But it needs to get done soon, probably in the next couple of weeks. All the parts are here for it. I just, I have to wait until I have other projects done first. And Camera Girl's going to have to be here to help me lift it. Yeah. So we'll wait for Camera Girl to be here to finish that one. Luke Greenia says, Carrie, I enjoy every minute of your content, whether it's a build or just a chatting session. Keep up the great work. Well, thanks, Luke. And, I appreciate you as well, of course. You know that. Thomas Tidwell with $22 super chat. Thank you, Thomas. Cordia's Technology contributes $5. We get to chat and ask questions live, much better than pre-recorded shows, right? I mean, that's what television's for. You can watch TV. You just want to watch pre-recorded shows. You don't need to come to YouTube for that. Richard says, hi, Carrie and chat. It's my birthday today. Hey, everybody tell Richard happy birthday. Right on, Richard. Matthew Burden said, I love the way things are. Don't change anything, Carrie. Well, that's good because I'm not going to anyway. Richard Palmentier says, good afternoon, everyone. Hey, there goes a bunch of happy birthdays to Richard. You guys rock. This community is so cool. Ron Barnish says, you have to go where the money is, Carrie. Don't change what you do. I help a little when I can. No, many of you do help. And I have to tell you, it's making a big, big difference. And I don't expect it. It's like a tip. It's never expected, but when the few who do that do it, it means a lot to me. And I appreciate it because this is it's those tips that make all of this possible. And I've said that before, and I mean that. I don't know, the system isn't working. And I'm trying to be creative with the type of content I'm making so I can afford to make more content. Every video you see me do costs me money. Whether it's costing me $100 or it's costing me $10,000, that was an extreme. But regardless, it's costing me something to make this content. So again, if I change my videos to be a guy sitting in a barking lounger with a microphone in front of me to read you today's tech news, there's no money that's costing me to do that, but I don't want to watch that video. I'm not interested in watching that. And I want to make videos I want to watch. I don't necessarily want to make videos you want to watch. I want to be clear on this because I think there's some misunderstanding. My goal since I started this channel was to make the videos I wanted to see. And my hope was that somewhere out there in the interwebs, there would be other people like me that also wanted to see this kind of content. My goal has never been the typical YouTuber, what do I make to get the most views? What do you people want to see? Tell me what to make. Because they just want to be famous or they want to be rich. I don't really care about being famous or rich. I want to be able to live. I don't want to be homeless on the street. But I want to do what I love to do. And I want to make the content I want to make. And I want viewers. And I don't care if I have 5 viewers or 5 million viewers. As long as they want to see what I'm making. If I have viewers that want to tell me what they want to see, well, you've got a camera. Doesn't take anything special these days. Make the video. Show me. Show me the video you want to see. Make it. Make it. You have a phone. You have a YouTube account. Do it. You don't need anything more than that. And then you realize that's a lot of work. And so many people thought this was easy. So many people have started their YouTube channels, made a couple of videos, and stopped. Because it's a lot of work and it pays next to nothing. And, you know, there's more channels now than ever. So to start a channel now, you're buried. How's anybody going to find you? So I do what I can. When you guys do make videos, what do? If you tell me, I shout it out and tell everybody, go watch your video. Where are you going to get that? What other channel does that for their community? What do I have to lose? You're not my competitor. You're not making the same content I'm making. People can enjoy us both. They don't have to pick one or the other. Let them go see your video. I'll give you the shout out. But 99% of you will never make a video. And that's okay, because then it would be even more crowded if you did. And so for those few who do, if you come in here and you say, hey, I made a video, can I post my link? Yes, you can. If you're blue, you can. Otherwise, you know, get to know us in the community. You'll eventually be turned blue and you can post your link. And I'm more than happy to tell people, hey, go watch his videos, you know, go subscribe to him or her. Why not? Who else, what other content creator does that? So I'm here to do things my way, the way I want to see it. And my goal is to attract viewers who get that, who say, wow, that's really cool. For the viewers who just want to see the same thing they're always accustomed to seeing, they won't see the value in what I'm doing. So we're just going to butt heads, you know. But I've got so much content I want to make. And the problem is, like right now, what I'm trying to do right now is I've got a couple of irons in the fire with companies to send me the product for free so I can review it. That's about the cheapest way I can make the content. But that's not what I want to do all the time. That's just like kind of interesting. Let's take a look at this product. We make a video out of it and then move on to something else the next time. And then maybe there's like a mini PC. I'm not going to do mini PCs every day. I'll do them for a little bit, and I'm going to take some time to do some other stuff, and then we'll come back and do the mini PCs. And if the company won't send me the mini PC, if they don't respond to my email or they want me to sign a contract, then I'll just buy the damn thing on Amazon and make it myself, and I don't need their permission. If they want to be difficult, they're not going to stop me from making the video. I'm going to make it anyway, with or without their help. So, you know, it's the same for them as it is for the viewers. I'm making the content I want to make. And they can either be a part of it or I'll do it without them. And I'm so grateful that, you know, this community has grown to the size that it has, because honestly, I never thought there'd be that many people who are getting what I'm doing. And, you know, it gets me to wonder, well, if there's that many people that I have now, how many people are out there that don't know I exist? Could I be at 1 million subscribers if there was a way to let these people know? Because at 380,000, that's insane. That's a crazy number. But if that number is possible, then why isn't 1 million possible? Suddenly that seems attainable now. And with 1 million subscribers, again, the subscribers themselves don't bring revenue, but what it does is it brings sponsors to me. Now, instead of me reaching out to them, they're reaching out to me. They're going, hey, you got 1 million subscribers. Show my stuff. How much will you charge me to show my stuff? And if it's stuff I want to show anyway, and they're going to pay me, bring it on, you know? Let's get there. Or we keep it the way it is, but just understand the struggle that's happening on the other side of the camera, where I'm trying to come up with clever ways of making that dollar stretch further for different content ideas. The repair I did yesterday was very popular. We had nearly 700 people in the chat, and that hasn't happened in a while. So that tells me people want to see computer repairs, but people don't want me to show their computer repair overall. They don't want it shown on camera. So if you have a computer that you need repaired and you don't mind it being shown on camera, reach out to me and we can get it shipped out here. If that's what people want to see, then be a part of it. Be a part of the content you want to see. Charlie Pat 74 who is a new member here, also contributed $25 in Super Chat. You rock, Charlie. Thank you. Oh, look at all the happy birthdays Richard got. I'm jealous. Except I'm glad it's not my birthday. I don't want to be another year older yet. Thomas Backenstow says, I've been here since 2017 every week, and this is all real. What Carrie is saying. How many were here on the site? Were 1,000 that watched that one night. One night we had 1,500 people in the live chat. That was over at Studio A. Mitch and I were doing a build or something. We had over 1,500 people. That happened twice. I don't know why that happened. It was really weird. And Thomas purchased 2 computers from me. So, you know, that I showed the computers being built. He paid for them. So it didn't cost me any money to make the video. Then I got them boxed up and shipped out. And then a couple months later, he ordered the second one. He did the first one, and he ordered the second one. I think I have an Amazon package at the door, so I'm going to step away here for a second, but I'll leave you to stare at this beauty as I go and grab those packages. I'll be right back. Okay, it's Federal Express. It's not Amazon. And this is going to go to what I'm talking about. This box is me being creative. See, it's up here. This box is a purchase from eBay. And honestly, for what I paid for this, it would have cost me that much to ship this. I think I got this with free shipping. So what is it? It's future content. That was cheap. Let me grab my razor blade. I'll open it up and share it with you guys. Lots of packing bubbles. That'll give me something to do later. More packing bubbles. I have something. I guess you can't see anything, can you? Something that says eBay. I got a power cord. Oh, what is it? What could it be? Is it supposed to be making that sound? Something got a screw loose. Trevor Dunn says, I've sent you a $20 Amazon gift card. Right on. Thank you, Trevor. That was the video. Well, he spent 20 minutes unwrapping a package. Instead of VCR, that'd be the world's thinnest VCR. No, I can't see how a VCR would help you guys at all with educational content. Unless this was 1984. I don't know. Whatever I paid for the pound is a good deal. I couldn't do that again twice. Okay, so this is a Cisco Catalyst 3750 rack-mounted switch with, I think, 48 ports, gigabit ports. This costs less than a 16 port that you're buying at Amazon for your house. Now, you may not need 16 ports at your house, and you might not want anything this big, but this is cheaper. This retired office equipment is way more capable, and for about the same price as a consumer switch of 1/8 the size. Well, not 1/8, 1/4 the size. It's the same price. And they're a little more complicated. This is a managed switch, which has a console port. You've got to log into it. And you've got to configure it. You don't just plug and play like you do with the consumer stuff. And why? Why is that? Remember, I keep telling you the difference between working in business and the home stuff. And there's a lot more at risk. Money is at risk. There's a lot going on with downtime, the amount of money it costs the company every second they're down. And the level of equipment companies use is much higher grade than the stuff you guys are buying at Best Buy. Well, aside from sounding snooty, what does it really mean? Well, I don't have any experience working with a managed switch. I'm kind of afraid of them, to be honest. They're a little complicated, even for a guy like me. But Camera Girl did this stuff for a living for over 20 years and knows it like the back of her hand. So we're going to make some future content showing how we can configure this managed switch into an unmanaged switch. So I don't have to manage it. We'll just automate it just like a normal consumer switch. So I can just plug stuff in and use it. How do you do that? I have no idea. I know there are YouTube videos that walk you through resetting a switch like this. But Camera Girl knows this stuff like it's the back of her hand. She doesn't have to look anything up. She knows all the commands off the top of her head. She signs in, logs in, does what she needs to do, and she will teach us what she's doing the entire time. And that's a very inexpensive form of making content. That switch right there, the whole video is going to cost me 50 bucks. That's a lot cheaper than today's video. And I think it's quite interesting because it opens up the opportunity for those of you at home that are tinkerers that would like to play with this stuff, especially if you're curious about what a managed switch is, what's managed about it. What does that even mean? How does that relate to the real world? How's that different from my consumer Netgear switch? Oh, it's very different. And why? Well, I can explain why. The scale is massive. Businesses. You're not just dealing with a couple of computers in your house. You're dealing with thousands upon thousands of connected workstations and servers and other equipment that all has to work together 100%. And any downtime of anything costs the company money. So there's a lot of pressure on the IT department to keep it running and maintained at all times. And if something goes down, stop what you're doing and get it back up and running as quickly as possible. That's why this perfectly good working equipment gets replaced, even though it still works. Because newer equipment is even faster and more reliable than this. But back when this was new, do you have any idea how much money this cost when this was new? Google it. Tell me what number you get. You can go on eBay and buy these for 50 bucks all day. That's crazy if you have any idea how much these sell for when they were new. And they work. They're 100% functional. There's no moving parts, so what's going to break? Paul O'Brien contributes €5. He says, I've been watching you since the swatting incident, and boy, was that something scary as hell. Yeah. That was scary because of how the police reacted. Nothing scary about what the wannabe script kiddie did. They're just an idiot. But the way the police responded was inexcusable. And the good news is they learned from that. I worked with them on training, and there have been other swatting incidents of other people in my city, and they knew exactly what it was. Unlike my time, they didn't know what it was. But now they know, and now many people, innocent people, have not had to go through what I went through with the harassment and the terrorizing that the police did to me or other members of my city. Because that happened, it saved nobody got killed in my city from a swatting event, because my event was the very first one that ever happened. And the training that I followed up with the police department was put into effect, and their officers now know how to deal with it. And there's been no injury at all and no terrorism from the police as a result of a swatting event in my city because that happened. So that moron script kiddie did everybody in my city a favor and made their community safer and made their police department better. So there you go. Carlos wants to know, are these going to be Monday videos? Maybe, I don't know yet. Part of that depends on what workload I've got ahead of me for that given week and what workload Camera Girl has ahead of her. She's not here all the time, so she's obviously got to be here to do the work. So I don't have a date schedule. I mean, I literally just picked this up out of the doorway. It just came off the truck minutes ago. So asking me when I'm going to film it, I mean, come on. I mean, give me some time to figure this out. John Williams wants to know, would you like a Dell Power Connect 2016 that was given to me? I have no use for it. So that's a server. I don't really have any. It's a server, right? The Dell Power Connect? Because I don't have any need for a server. Or is it some other piece of equipment? I don't know that level of equipment. That's more like, Mike Smith does that stuff. It's a switch. I don't know what I would do with two of them. The whole point of the video is to just teach what the corporate level of equipment is like. Since I talk about it a lot, let me give you an example. I don't need more than one example of a managed switch. I think unless something's wrong with this one, and I can't imagine anything would be wrong. I mean, I hear a screw loose in there, but I suspect, I'll tell you what I think happened. There's some big vent holes in the back here. And I think maybe a screw fell into a vent hole. I don't think a screw came loose inside. There's not really anything to come loose inside of these things. But they're super easy to open up, and if I shake it, the screw will fall out, and that'll solve that problem. So I definitely don't want to power it on while the screw is in there, because it could short circuit something, and then smoke will come out. We don't want that. Richard Palmentier says, no, they are well built. Indeed they are. They're replaced simply because of age, not because of problems. Newer, faster, smaller, more energy efficient equipment comes out. And companies that have these don't usually just have one. They'll have from floor to ceiling with these. And if you can reduce the power consumption, and if you can get them to faster connections, it's an investment that makes sense, and you get rid of your old ones. Your old ones don't owe you anything. Sometimes they just donate these to charities. They don't even sell them. And then it's charities that you'll see selling them on eBay. They just want them out of the building. They don't necessarily sell them. They just get these things out of here. somebody in the IT department, that's their job, to load up the truck with a bunch of old equipment and take it down to the whatever charity they donate them to and say, here, you guys can have this. And then that's how it'll wind up on eBay. Brian Woodley says, I'm loving the content. I've learned so much from you over the last few months and years. Keep up the great work. Well, I appreciate your kind words, Brian, and your kindness. Thank you. Oh, I haven't checked the phone in a while, huh? Okay, well, we'll check the phone here and then we'll wrap things up for today, I think. Let's see, what are we missing? I guess it's time for me to get my glasses out here. Thanks. FedEx sends me an email that my package has been delivered. That's great to know. Trevor Dunn, there's $20 via PayPal. Hey, thank you, Trevor. And now the eBay seller has sent me that my FedEx package has arrived that they sent. And now eBay has sent me an email that my package has arrived. Okay, so the seller, FedEx, and eBay have all told me my package is here. Morton sent a $100 Amazon gift card. That's very generous. Thank you, Morton. He says, here's $100 for the channel. That's a nice bill to keep up the great work. That's from Thomas. Thank you so much, Thomas. It's very kind of you. Let's see, what else do we have? The folks over at Ingenious, they make networking equipment, and they sent me some networking equipment they want me to review. And super cool guy. Hey, Luke Greenia sent a $50 Amazon gift card. Oh, man. Super nice, guys. Thank you so much. Very generous today, guys. I appreciate that. It's all going to Amazon anyway. YouTube should just pay me an Amazon gift card at this point. But in this case, this is eBay. I have no idea how this configures. I really have no clue. And this, oh, these are the brackets that get screwed onto the screws are here. And these brackets get screwed on each side, so you slide it into a standing rack that's, you know, of varying heights. And then you run your patch cables, you know, like a Lily Tomlin being the phone operator, patching people in. And I got a power cable, which I don't need, but it's a standard PC power cable. It's nice they threw that in. And yeah, we got a loose screw in there, but I think this will open super easy. This isn't like consumer stuff. There's a couple of the screws, and the whole top of it will come off. So that should be no big deal. And then whatever that screw is will shake out. Just got to make sure I remember to do that, or it'll be a very interesting video. Better buy a fire extinguisher. David Tracy in the chat says hello. Welcome in, David. Trevor says, great learning tool, that network switch. It's looking forward to seeing how Camera Girl gets it working. You and me, bro. You and me both, because we had to buy a special cable for that, which arrived yesterday. And it looks like this. This is from Amazon. And this is, I think she wanted me to get a USB Type-C, but I got a USB Type-A. It's USB Type-A on this side and what looks like an RJ45 network connection on that side. And it plugs into what looks like a network port, but it's a console port on the back of the switch. And this is just an RS-232 conversion, so it's a really slow serial port essentially, and that enables you to use a terminal to terminal in. And this thing comes up with a bunch of code and stuff for you to log into and decipher. It means something to somebody who's educated, and she's going to need that. So we have everything she needs other than her come here and get this work done. Get to work. Where you at? Do I still have my radio show, or has tech taken over? Radio's dying. It's really, really bad. A lot of modern cars don't even come with AM radios. Like Tesla, you can't have an AM radio in a Tesla because all the electric motors interfere with the amplitude modulation of AM. So you couldn't hear anything even if you wanted to, at least not without some very serious shielding, very expensive to fix up the car so AM radio would work. And fewer and fewer people these days listen to radio, AM or FM. They're listening to Spotify, they're streaming their music, they're Bluetoothing their phones to their cars. So you're going to see the demise, I predict, of the radio. You know, AM serves a purpose for like emergency broadcasts and things, but it's dying. And the more we go to electric cars, the more it interferes with the ability to get AM signal into the car because of the electric motors. So that's not boding well for AM. And in general, people like to listen to podcasts, right? They want to download their podcasts from iTunes or Spotify or Pandora or wherever. So yeah, the whole radio thing's just, and it's so many ads on radio. If you listen to talk radio, oh my God, it's like 40% ads. And they're terrible ads, terrible. So no, I'm doing the radio show. Coreyman says it's called a rollover cable to USB serial. See, somebody knows. Corey can come over here and teach this. I didn't claim to know. Martin Hawk says, Kerry, I recently worked on a Dell Optiplex 7010. It was a real joy to work on with the ease of access. Yeah, but it's a business class machine, not the stuff that they sell to the consumers. The business class machines, you get in and get out, and they're built really well. Solo says, I have a managed 4-port switch that I still need to learn about. Well, when you figure it out, you teach me. Somehow I've gone my whole life and never needed one. Chris Garrett said, that sucks about AM radio. I was listening to 2 local AM stations. For the record, I'll never buy an electric car. Yeah, well, enjoy walking. That's dedication, huh? It may not happen in your lifetime. You probably don't have anything to worry about. Elon Musk can afford to include AM radio in his Teslas. Oh, it's not a question of Elon Musk can afford it. It's a question of how much does it raise the price of the car? Generally speaking, the more expensive the car is, the fewer of them you'll sell. And the number of people listening to AM radio, like you people who are touting about our benefits of AM radio, you're such a tiny little minority of the population who could give a rat's behind about AM radio. And it's nice that you feel this passion for it, but you're a dying breed. There's not enough of you to make that happen. If there was a big movement behind AM radio, then I could see it. But so few people care. I haven't listened to AM radio in years. If I'm going to listen to AM radio, I listen to it through the iHeartRadio app on my phone. I don't actually listen to it on the radio. It sounds terrible. So for me personally, I think I'm in line with the vast majority of Americans when I say, wait, AM radio is even still around? I didn't even know. I thought that was dead 10 years ago. I haven't used it in forever. And that's the problem, right? It's you've got this big movement of cultural change in our society. And that's why you don't see many blacksmiths or horses and carriages anymore. It's just time marches on and things change. Gary Tatum says, you got to ask yourself, would you pay an extra $1,000 for your car to have an AM radio? I don't know that it would be an extra 1,000, but there'd be a lot of engineering work, a lot of materials that would have to go in to make that work. Somebody's got to pay for all that engineering and research and design, and the fabrication of the parts, and then the modifying of the factory to get that all, the builders trained in how to do it just for AM radio because 6 people want it. You know what I mean? I don't see it happening, but I could be wrong. I don't have anything against AM radio. I don't. I just don't see a purpose for it anymore. It's history. You know what I mean? It was a wonder of its time. It's not a wonder of today, other than the fact that it still exists. But again, it has a purpose for like emergency services and stuff. But you find the people who care about AM radio are probably over 60 years old. And give it another 30 years, where are the people that care about AM radio going to be? David Graham says it quite succinctly. What's radio? That's a whole nother, that's the next thing to go. Patrick Manny says printed newspapers are dying. Yeah. I was so sad that Maximum PC Magazine, which was the last printed computer magazine, after 20 plus years, said we're going all digital only. We're no longer doing the print publication. I just renewed my subscription, you jerks. We'll give you a refund if you don't want the digital copy. I don't want the digital copy. You know what the digital copy is? Google, it's free. Why would I go to MaximumPC.com when I can get the same information literally from PC Mag and PC World and Tom's Hardware, and more sites than I could name in the next hour, republishing the same content over and over and over. I wanted a magazine. I wanted the printed publication to hold in my hands because it was the last one. PC Magazine went away to digital only. PC World Magazine went away to digital only. Maximum PC was the last holdout. The one thing that made them different from everybody else in that tech journalism, they still had a print magazine. And they said, you know what? Why should we be different from everybody else? Let's just be the same. Well, now, why should I go to your content when your content is the same as everybody else's? There's nothing that brings me to your content anymore. So it was fun. Bye. Give me my refund. Dumb, dumb, dumb decision. But what am I going to do? Obviously, I represent a minority of people that still want print magazines. I can accept that. I'm not going to sit there and fight it. Fine. I'll find another way to get my content, but I'm not loyal to Maximum PC. I'm not going to their website. I never went to their website for content, ever. I went to their magazine. When I wanted content from a website, I'd go to PC World. I'd go to Tom's Hardware, Anantech, podhardware.com. I mean, there's countless. It's more than you can shake a stick at. You just want to enter into that foray of a mess that's already overcrowded and oversaturated? Good luck surviving. It was nice knowing you. One of the reasons I went to PC World was because the editor-in-chief of Maximum PC Magazine and the one after that who followed him both went to PC World. So Will Smith, it's a different Will Smith, was the was the Maximum PC editor-in-chief. He left, went to PC World. Gordon Ma-Ung became editor-in-chief, maybe not in that order. It might have been somebody else in the middle. He left and went to PC World magazine. And if you've never seen Gordon Ung, his content in PC World, he does videos. Gordon makes the videos I would make if I had a crew and a budget. I love Gordon's stuff. So I am a huge Gordon Maung fan. I met him in person. I stopped at the Maximum PC office one time when I was in San Francisco. And I said, hey, is Gordon around? And they're like, who are you? Is he expecting you? And he heard my voice. He's never met me, but he talked to me. And he kind of poked around the corner and said, Gary Holzman, come on in. And he gave me a whole tour of the Maximum PC. It was just a random stop by during a business day. I was in San Francisco and I thought I'd try. And that's the only time I ever met him, but it was fun. And he's a cool dude. And when he went to PC World, I followed him there and I stay there today. He's over at Computex right now. And the content he's releasing from Computex is almost universally content I'm interested in. So like I said, he makes the videos I would make if I was in his position. So if you wonder who are the people I'm looking up to in the tech industry, that guy, sure. He's one of several, but he's like the main guy. Gordon Ma-ung, or sometimes just Gordon Ung. His Twitter name is fake Gordon Ma-ung because nobody would ever want to be the fake Gordon Ma-ung. So that's a name he doesn't have to worry about anybody ever stealing. I love that guy. I totally get him. Birds of a feather. PC World has the videos here on YouTube. So if you look at the PC World videos, you'll see many of them are hosted by Gordon. Those are the ones I'm most interested in. No offense to anybody else, but he just has a great way of communicating, and the things he's interested in are the same things I'm interested in, almost universally. So I subscribe to PC World's channel here on YouTube. And when I see Gordon on the thumbnail, look, I'm watching that one. And I think you'd be interested in them too. He's got some really interesting stuff coming out of Computex. David Tracy has now been a member for 1 month. Hey, right on. Thank you, David. Kevin Smith wants to know how Jimmy's doing. Jimmy's doing good. He's doing good. Jeff wants to know, Carrie, what about doing a video on how to transfer all your data from old drives, from old computers to a new drive? I mean, I've done that video like 3 or 4 times already in the last 15 years I've been doing this. Maybe try searching YouTube, Carrie Holzman data transfer in the YouTube search. You'll see, first of all, unless you're cloning a drive that has an operating system, if all you're trying to do otherwise is copy data, then there's nothing special you need to do. You just hook up the other drive, whether you plug it in internally or through a USB dock. It pops up on your screen like a flash drive would. You highlight the files, right-click and choose copy. Go to your C drive, right-click to where you want to paste them and paste them. No software is needed, no special training is needed. And apart from the dock, in the case of mounting a drive externally, you don't have to do any of that. If you only have a little bit of data, just log into that computer and email it to attach it to an email to yourself. Or use Google Drive or Microsoft OneDrive and upload it to the cloud on the one computer and then download it from the other computer from the cloud. You don't even have to buy any equipment. But if you're wanting to move an operating system that you want to clone, and any of my Acronis videos, which there are at least 3 or 4, if not half dozen or more, I've done over the years, it's very commonly covered topic here on the channel, and I don't want to do it again. So it's already been done. I strongly advise you, especially if you're relatively new here, you've missed out on over 1,500 videos. So the thing you're asking me to do is likely already been done in most cases, just so you know. Bull142 with the $10 super chat. Thank you, Bull142. We are just about climbing on 4 o'clock. That's going to put us at 3 hours here today. And what a unique experience this was to have so much time left over after the build to hang out with you guys and just talk about what's going on, what's on your mind, and what's on my mind. I enjoy it. I hope you enjoy it as well. Even if I get a little emotional, don't take it personally. I'm an emotional guy. I wear my heart on my sleeve. Sometimes people take that personally. It has nothing to do with the person. Something is, when we talk about something that really, really matters with me, I'm a passionate guy. All right. It's just how I am. It had nothing to do with you. So if I come across worked up, it's not because of you. It's because it means that much to me that it draws that out of me. That's all. Camera girl says it's my therapy. She might be right. Though she might be the reason I need the therapy. But that's a different subject. We'll not talk about that. I kid. I'm a kidder. Yes, if you enjoy content like this and you want to see more, please do press the like button. That's how you tell me you want to see more content like this. If you don't want to see more content like this, then you hit the thumbs down button. Cost you nothing. Thank you for all the contributions today. I'm going to have a long list of names to read off, but they deserve to be read, and so I'm going to read them. Let me take a look here. Wrong mouse, Carrie. Let's go use the right mouse. Uh-oh, my YouTube page isn't loaded right. Uh-oh. Uh-oh, did I lose all my viewer activity? I hope not. Thank you to Bull142. Thank you to David Tracy for renewing his membership. Thank you to Paul O'Brien and Charlie Pat. Charlie Pat 74. Thank you to K Cordia's Technology, Thomas Tidwell, Martin Hogg, David Ice. I missed David's contribution earlier when we were talking about people using their ad blocker. David contributed $5 and he said, I love when they say they can't afford to pay for YouTube, but they're paying for Netflix and Hulu. Yeah, it was a good point. Sorry, I missed it earlier. Patrick Ollie became a new member here. Welcome in, Patrick Ollie. Thank you to Planet Cryos and Frankie B. Thank you to Iggy the Human, who also became a new member here today. Again, a thank you to Craig Casabona and Nick Poverman. Sarge Tech renewed his membership now for 5 months. He's been a member. Right on. Davis Parsons and Roy Star Man, thank you guys, as well as Buster, Peter Laycock. Thank you to Mark Gaines and Luke Greenia. And who else have I missed? I think there was a few on my phone here, and I want to make sure I give all the proper credit to these generous individuals. Let's see. Morton. Oh my gosh, how can I forget Thomas? Thank you so much for your continued generosity, the Amazon gift card. And Trevor Dunn, thank you for the PayPal contribution as well. And there was one that arrived late last night, somewhere in here. I'm going to find it. It's in here somewhere. Robert Barnes contributed $15. Said, this is great TV for us. Membership is a bargain. Again, keep the content flowing. Well, thank you to Robert Barnes. And Ian Bruce sent $5.93 last night via PayPal from the United Kingdom. Thank you to Ian. Have I caught up everybody? There was one from like 2 days ago that arrived in the middle of the night. There was $20 2 days ago from Gary Tatum. I'm not sure if I shouted that one out, but just in case I didn't, I'll shout it out just to cover my butt. Thank you, Gary. And for the Motherboard he sent. It's a nice motherboard and chip that we'll use in a future build. I swear there's one more in here. Another thank you to our friend Jack Wilson, who sent a very generous contribution the other day that I did shout out during the show. Oh, and Robert Barnes had sent a PayPal contribution a couple days earlier for $40 via PayPal. Oh, so thank you, Robert Barnes, again. I don't know how many days I should be going back on this. There were a couple, as I recall, that came in for like $2 or $3, and I don't really have any way to reach out and say thank you to them. So I thought, I'll take a moment at the end of the show. Then I almost forgot to do it. And that wraps up today's show. We're right at 4 o'clock, so I'll go ahead and say goodbye. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. I do intend to be back live again, both Saturday and Sunday at the same time, same channel. 1 p.m. is our start time, Pacific time. I hope you'll join me then. Until next time, and again, a thank you to all of you for hanging out with me, blue or green or white, however you participate financially or just hanging out in the chat, or even if you're just lurking and watching. I mean, I wish you'd participate some way, but thank you for being a part of it. I'll see you very soon. Until next time. Oh, and thank you to Camera Girl for the thumbnail. Duh. Okay. Bye for now. I'm looking for an outro. I never have an outro queued up. I don't like to play the same one over and over. All right. I haven't seen this one in a while. Bye for now.